We're outside here in Wichita, bringing you some 2023 Summer Ball Showdown action between the Corn Belt League and the Valley Center Mud Daubers here in Wichita, Kansas. It's the hot one, myself and Ethan McCormick right beside me. I'm Arnav Pokhrel, and we are getting set here for some very, very hot but very, very exciting baseball set to be played throughout the rest of this week. We've got one blind draw game today, another blind draw game tomorrow, and then after that, it'll be single elimination the rest of the way, Ethan. It's going to be an interesting one. This is the third season that the Corn Belt League's been here, but the third time's a charm. A new head coach for this team and a very different roster from the one we brought last year.
100%. You got a brand new head coach, brand new attitude coming here to Wichita. You got a couple returners that were on that team last year. Aiden Erbom, one of them, who pitched a gem last year against the Wichita Black Sox, which was playing on the field that we're playing on before us. But yeah, brand new attitude. The heat is going to be the biggest factor for both sides. Both teams have to play in the heat, so one team doesn't get an advantage and the other team doesn't get a disadvantage. So both teams are going to be playing in the heat. We've never seen this team. We don't know what they can do. We don't know what we have. All we have is their stats, but it's a fair game for both teams.
Corn Belt League in the gray tops and white pants, and the Valley Center Mud Daubers in the gray pants and the yellow tops and yellow and white hats. We'll take a quick run down the Valley Center Mud Daubers lineup here for today. Starting at shortstop and batting first is Miles Hartman. Starting in right field, batting second is Cole Schieffer. Starting in center field and batting third is Jeffrey Vargas. Starting at first base, and batting cleanup is Brandon Gaskin. Starting at third base and batting fifth, Jamie Baldwin. Batting sixth, starting at second, is Garrett Welbrock. Batting seventh, starting at catcher, Connor Thompson. Batting eighth, and starting in left field is Cooper Nell. And then finally, the DH, Noe Pena, bringing up the rear. And the pitcher for today for the Valley Center Mud Daubers, Garrett Faker, who on the season has 16 innings pitched, has given up 15 earned runs. So almost an earned run given up every single inning is pitched, has an 8.44 ERA, 20 strikeouts, 17 walks throughout the season for Fager, who's a pitcher, but can also play in the outfield, a little bit of a two-way player for Fager and the Valley City Mud Daubers.
Yeah, Fager is going to be the key. If you can get your starting pitcher, despite the heat, to go 4 or 5 innings, you want to try to use as much bullpen as possible, but also trying to keep it as limited as possible, because with this heat, these pitchers are going to wear down pretty quickly. You don't want to send a lot of pitchers out there, and then tomorrow in a pool play game, you don't want to have limited pitchers when it could be crunch time, whether you get a high seed or a low seed. So you want to conserve pitchers, but also get your pitchers out there, because you don't want a pitcher going 8 innings when it's 105 degrees. That's a heat stroke waiting to happen. But this lineup is very well constructed. This team average is 247 with a 371 on-base percentage, 156 RBIs batted in throughout the season. And they compete in the Kansas Collegiate Baseball League, the KCLB, or the Kansas Collegiate League Baseball for short. And they finished 14-21, and they lost to the Park City Rangers in their opening round of their tournament. They have a league field of 8 teams, so they lost in the quarterfinals, kind of like the Corn Belt League. They got 8 teams in their league, and so they come into this one kind of poised, ready to make a name for themselves. A lot of these guys are from Kansas. They come from Kansas community colleges, and they're just ready to make a name and see if they can go far in this tournament.
Yeah, and interesting to note for that KCLB season, that postseason tournament, the winners of that, the Dirtbags, are also another team that we could be seeing here today in this week in the Summer Ball Showdown. They usually split a couple teams between this tournament here and the National Baseball Congress tournament being held in Kansas as well. And as for the Corn Belt League on the other side, it's Chris Calhoun batting DH and leading off for the Omaha side. Batting second and playing third base, Carson Burnett. Batting third and playing catcher, Chris Bolifer. Batting fourth and playing first base, Matthew Rivers. Batting fifth, playing in right field, Dylan Fuller. Batting sixth, playing in left field, Cam Madsen. Batting seventh, playing at shortstop, is Nick Ripa. Batting eighth and playing in center field, Nick DeMonte, who is celebrating his 21st birthday today. And bringing up the rear for the Corn Belt League, Braden Jackson, the second baseman. Very, very fast, very efficient hitter there to bat cleanup. Kind of like a second leadoff man. When you get into those later innings, you want another guy who can produce at the bottom of the lineup, and that's exactly what Braden Jackson does. But, Ethan, who's your standout guy from this Corn Belt League side?
I'm going to go Cam Madsen, batting in the 6th spot, batting and playing left field today. He was, among qualified hitters, the best hitter in the Corn Belt League season. I think having him at that 6th spot is going to spark the bottom half of the offense. You got Dylan Fuller batting 5th, Matthew Rivers batting 4th, and Chris Bullifer batting 3rd. You got 3 quality power hitters right there. And then the most notably, the man who won the Red Raiders their championship game just Sunday night, Chris Calhoun, most stolen bases in the league. That's the prototypical leadoff man for Vern Hasty in this Corn Belt League team, but there is a lot of quality base runners, a lot of quality hitters, and a lot of quality defensive guys in this lineup. But they're led by Garrett Simpson out on the mound today, who's poised to give them a couple good quality innings.
Yeah, Simpson's done extremely well throughout this Corn Belt League season as we get set here for first pitch, which is scheduled for just in a few minutes here. We're going to take a quick break here on the Corn Belt League Network. We'll have the first pitch when we return here at Wichita at the Genesis Health Club Sports Complex. And we're back here at the 2023 Summer Ball Showdown here at the Genesis Health Club Sports Complex in Goddard, Kansas, just outside the main city limits of Wichita. And while leading the mound for the Corn Belt League Omaha team is Garrett Simpson, who was a member of the regular season champions, the Omaha Royal Blue Dogs, and coached by the head coach of this Corn Belt League Omaha team, Vern Hasty. Ethan, a really, really successful season for Simpson and this entire Royal Blue Dogs pitching staff.
100% the heart of the pitching staff for Vern Hasty and this Blue Dogs team. 1.25 ERA and 27 2/3 innings pitched with a 139 opponent's batting average and a whip that was sitting at 1.11. On average, a great whip is sitting between 1 and 115, so Garrett Simpson is right in there. But 19 strikeouts to 16 walks and only 5 earned runs throughout 27 2/3 innings pitched is about as efficient as you can get out there on the mound. And he's going to be tasked with carrying this Corn Belt League defense through hopefully 4 or 5 innings.
And he's in a battery with Chris Bolifer, who was wearing the number 1 jersey and catching for him today. And Chris Bolifer, maybe not the strongest catcher defensively, but what he brings on the offensive side of the ball, when he's at bat, he's a very commanding presence in the box and one of the best hitting catchers we've seen, not just this season in the Corn Belt League, probably ever in the Corn Belt League.
100%. The young man who just transferred to Baker University just announced his commitment a couple days ago, so congrats to Chris Bolifer on your new school at Baker University, a former University of Minnesota Crookston product, a Division II school up in Minnesota. But 100% agree, and we'll see here early off with Miles Hartman, who leads the team in batting average, leads the team in stolen bases, so he'll be tasked with kind of managing a runner if he can get on.
And it is Hartman up to bat first as he steps in, and Simpson gets ready for the first pitch of the afternoon. First pitch trying to hit that outside corner of Simpson, but it misses for 1-0.
And Simpson really is going to lean heavy on that fastball. He's got a breaking ball, which is a curveball, and he can throw a changeup in there as well, but that fastball is going to be heavy.
Right on cue, another fastball, just stuck it a little bit too low for 2-0.
Those first 2 pitches didn't miss by much. I thought those were pretty much right in the middle of the zone, if not maybe a little bit low. This heat, though, is going to be playing a factor on not everyone, and including the umpires.
Another one missing just low for Simpson, and he's falling behind early in the count 3-0.
Those are 3 great pitches. I don't think you can locate much better than those on your first 3 pitches of the ball game.
And here's a 3-0 pitch showing bunt is Hartman, but he'll pull back. But looks like he made contact with the ball anyways as it went into the ground for 3-1.
Hartman's .422 batting average, like mentioned earlier, leads the team. He also is second in the team in RBIs.
3-1 misses for Simpson, and it's a leadoff walk here for the Mud Daubers.
And you're going to see if Miles Hartman can get things going on the base paths here early. 16 stolen bases for Miles Hartman during their KCLB regular season, including their tournament as well. So that's about 22 games, or excuse me, about 32-ish games. So interesting to see. He's getting a pretty aggressive lead off of first.
Always a danger on the base paths as swing and miss on the first pitch for Cole Schieffer, the right fielder for the Mud Daubers. And the count sits now at 0-1.
73 plate appearances, .250 average. He has hit 1 out, 8 RBIs, 3 stolen bases for Cole.
A couple interesting things here in this tournament, run by NCAA rules. So if you're used to college ball, you'll be used to this tournament. Pitch clock is in effect, although there is not a pitch clock out there on the mound as that pitch is in the dirt. And running to second is Hartman, and he'll steal a base there as Bolifer pulls the throw back, does not elect to throw that down to second.
He did a good job keeping that ball in front of him, but with the turf, it's going to create a little bit more of a bouncy type of feel when that ball hits the turf. These players, especially in the infield, are going to have to be wary of that ball bouncing in directions they may not be accustomed to.
1-1 count now here for Simpson with a runner on second.
It was a beautiful breaking ball right there from Simpson. Absolutely located that outer half of the plate. It looks like this might be an outer half of the plate type of zone for hitters. It'll be interesting to see how this can transition later on in the ballgame.
Here's the 1-2 from Simpson. Swung on, contact made, but it's in foul territory, and it'll be a go again here at the 1-2.
Simpson got off the mound pretty quickly right there. Simpson's going to try to do his best to conserve energy as much as possible. He's with this heat right now, it's about 104 degrees, but that heat index is going to climb into well over the 110s. So it will get cooler as the night goes on, but conserving energy is the key.
Runner on second is Hartman, who reached on a walk. Schieffer up to bat in a 1-2 count. Swung on. Contact made to the shortstop. Oh, play over at third is in time, and they apply the tag. Good work there from Ripa and Burnett on the same page as they get Hartman as he runs from second to third, although the runner does advance to first and Schieffer in a fielder's choice.
That is beautiful team chemistry right there. You get the out at third on what is ruled. That's not a force play. There's no one that's tailing you that you can just step on the bag. That's a great tag. Ripa comes up quickly, backhands an absolute rocket, and throws it on over, and Burnett applied the tag. Yeah, fielder's choice, there is a runner on first.
And we'll bring up the third batter, Jeffrey Vargas, the center fielder. Runner on first now for the Mud Daubers.
Beautiful looking cutter right there from Garrett Simpson. It's got a little tailing away action or away from the hitter or glove side for Garrett Simpson.
Simpson will step back in on the 0-1. One away here in the first inning, as this one is a little blooper over to second and mishandled by the second baseman, Braden Jackson.
And that's that turf that we're talking about. You got to play the bounce, and that bounce has got a little outside of his glove range. You got to either get it on the first hop or it's going to eat you up, or you got to be able to play that bounce. But hopefully everyone watches that and they learn and they realize that you got to be able to control that bounce.
So another fresh count here for Brandon Gaskin, the cleanup hitter, with 2 on. Only one away here in the second. Top of the first, excuse me. First pitch in there for a strike from Simpson.
Simpson's going to blow that fastball right by you. That's one constant, is that he's just going to be able to throw that fastball. We'll see if these Mud Daubers can time up that fastball.
Another fastball. That one in there for strike 2. Looked a little low, but gets the call there for strike 2.
And you're going to see 3 catchers that are great at framing pitches. Cooper McCoy, Anthony Nino, and Chris Bolifer, who can frame pitches. We'll see if they can do it.
This one swung on. Contact made into shallow right center field. And it's going to drop in the outfield. And it looks like 1 run scores for the Mud Daubers. Another one coming around third. And the guys have lost it in the outfield. So it looks like it'll be a ground rule double for Brandon Gaskin.
That's a great start for the Mud Daubers. They hit a gap right there as Gaskin was able to get that one into right field. It looks like they lost it in right field. It looked like that took a little bit longer of a relay to get in. But nonetheless, that's a quick 2-0 advantage for Valley Center here in the top of the first.
And so an early 2-0 lead for the Mud Daubers. Off the double from Brandon Gaskin, that brought in 2. Contact made, looks like a foul tip there.
Ball hit off the inside leg right there. It was kind of hurt, but he's got he's got a knee protector or a shin protector on his plant foot. So that might have taken some of the blow.
Runner on second is Gaskin, who just brought in 2. That pitch misses just outside for the 1-1 count. Here's a 1-1 to Baldwin. Simpson gets set and throws well outside of the zone for 2-1.
Simpson is going to have to really locate that curveball. He's thrown it about 4 or 5 times, and he hasn't located it for a strike quite yet. I bet his fingers are feeling kind of sweaty out there on the mound. The grip is going to be key.
Contact made on this one. It's a foul ball behind the plate, so it'll be 2-2 now. Simpson with a chance to put another one away. 2-2 count on Baldwin. Gaskin sits at second after driving one into right center field. That just bounced, and then the right fielder, Fuller, and the center fielder, DeMonte, both just kind of lost it. So it was ruled ground rule double, 2 runs scored. Another foul ball here by Baldwin. And it remains a 2-2 count.
Yeah, and you can see Baldwin up at the plate. He's battling. This has been a steady stream of lefties and righties up at the plate for the Mud Daubers. They're really throwing off looks here for Simpson, who has been able to run up that pitch count. The Mud Daubers have been able to really run up that pitch count.
Especially in this heat. You don't want to run your pitchers out too long. Curveball, it's going to hang just inside the line for a little bit and then trail outside the line on the third base side, and it'll be another opportunity at the 2-2 here for Baldwin and Simpson.
Yeah, this is going to be a battle, you can tell, between these two. Baldwin is reading the pitch out of his hand pretty well, just not able to get enough barrel on it in time. Be interesting to see what Simpson does here, if he throws a curveball or he goes with his breaking ball or he decides to throw a little gas by him.
Here's the 2-2 for the third time. Swung on, contact made, deep right field. Trailing is a right fielder, Fuller, and he'll make the grab at the warning track. Runner tags up from second, moving to third as Gaskin makes his way over, and Baldwin does his job. A sac fly to right field to advance Gaskin into scoring position 90 feet away from the third run of the game.
That's exactly what Baldwin wanted to do. Now, a ground ball or a base hit would have been better. It would have scored the run, but that's the next best thing that Baldwin could have done up there at the plate is get a sac fly to right field. Left field, you wouldn't have been able to score him. Center field, depends on where it's hit, but right field, it's almost a go 100% of the time.
And that'll be the second out of the top half of the inning and bring up the 6-hole hitter, Garrett Welbrock, for this Mud Daubers team.
Welbrock had a .080 batting average in league play this last season.
That one fouled well wide and outside of play. Interesting here, the foul balls could go really into any neighboring field. There's 5 fields all in a circular fashion as the count now sits 0-2 for Welbrock.
It's umpire's discretion whether the play is going to be played or stopped, so that could be very interesting.
Here's the 0-2 well up and inside. A little bit of chin music there for Welbrock as Simpson throws one in for the 1-2. Runner on third is Gaskin. He brought in 2 runs on an RBI double to right center field. That's the difference in this one so far. That pitch low and outside. Good frame job there from Bullifer, but he didn't get the call. And Welbrock now has an even count at 2-2.
Interesting that was called a ball. That ball was called a strike about a batter ago, but must have had a different angle coming in.
So now 2-2, Welbrock with 2 away. That one in there just low for ball 3. Now the count sits 3-2.
Good eye by Welbrock. He's watched back-to-back balls. He's now worked himself ahead in the count. Instead of being down 0 or 1-2, now he's worked himself back up to 3-2.
Here's a full count pitch. Contact made. It's short and soft to Jackson at second. Clean throw over to first, and it's in time for the third out of the inning. And so the damage is done by the Mud Daubers. They scored 2 in the top of the first. We'll head to a quick break and be back with the Corn Belt League's first bats here at the 2023 Summer Ball Showdown. And we're back here, bottom of the first inning between the Mud Daubers and the Corn Belt League. And while the Mud Daubers did their work in the first half of the inning, scoring 2 runs off of an RBI double to right center field by Brandon Gaskin, the cleanup hitter. That'll bring up the Corn Belt League, and top 3 hitters of Chris Calhoun, Carson Burnett, and Chris Bulliford due up in the top half of the inning. But let's take a quick look here at Garrett Fager, the pitcher for the Valley Center Mud Daubers. And Ethan, what do you know about him throughout his KCLB season?
Yeah, so in the KCLB season, he threw 16 innings, allowed 15 earned runs, and posted an 8.44 ERA in those outings. He appeared in 11 games, 20 strikeouts to 17 walks. He will load up the strike zone, but you also got to be a little patient as he'll walk you a couple times as well. And he's got his defense behind him that'll back him up. But yeah, like you said, Chris Calhoun, who led the Corn Belt League in stolen bases, will lead things off, who was the hero for the Red Raiders in that championship game. If you haven't seen that championship game, the replay is on our YouTube page. I recommend checking that out. You and I were on the call for that one. That was an electric game. Totally recommend going back and watching that. But Chris Calhoun was the hero after a walk-off single in the bottom of the 7th inning.
Well, the stakes may not be as high, but they're still pretty high here, down 2-0 early in the first inning against the Valley Center Mud Daubers, as he'll take the first pitch for strike 1.
244 batting average for Chris Calhoun coming into this one. He can get on base, but when he gets on base, he's really dangerous.
He'll take a pitch high for 1-1, and it seems like this strike zone is just a little smaller than the ones we're used to in the Corn Belt League. There's pitches that we think are strikes that are ruled balls by the umpires here, so a little bit tighter, a little bit more of a hitter-friendly strike zone here as another pitch is in there and misses for ball 2.
Well, it's that NCAA strike zone. I think they really play that strike zone as strict as possible. Some umpires may alter it, but it's going to be pretty strict.
The 2-1 misses outside for 3-1.
Yeah, prime example right there. That ball wasn't too far off the plate, but that got no call from the umpire, so it's going to be pretty lenient. You got to be hammering that strike zone.
Here's the 3-1. In there for a full count. Chris Calhoun draws a full count his first time up as a leadoff man for the Corn Belt League. Here's a full count pitch. It's in there. Contact made, fouled off into the other field. And we'll do it again.
Working pitch counts is going to be key in today's ball game. Getting that pitch count up, you got to try to get into that bullpen as quickly as possible. It's a nice leadoff walk right there.
And Chris Calhoun will head over first. We know how dangerous he is on the base paths. We'll see if the Valley Center Mud Doggers have done their homework on Calhoun as he draws a leadoff walk on the full count.
And Carson Burnett, who got off to about the hottest start to his Corn Belt League season that you possibly can. At one point, he was batting .550 at the end of June. Cooled off a little bit in July, but he's looking to heat up here at the Summer Ball Showdown.
Big swing and a miss. Calhoun goes, throws in time, but it's dropped by the second baseman, Wellbrock. And so Calhoun, we know him to steal, and he does steal there to advance a second on the swing and a miss by Burnett.
Yeah, prime example. We were talking about just how dangerous he is. That right there is a prime example of why this Corn Belt League squad is going to be dangerous, as well as his Red Raiders team was so dangerous.
Contact made by Burnett. It's a foul ball. He falls behind into an 0-2 count.
You got to be waiting for that breaking ball. I saw Fager throw that breaking ball a couple times during warm-ups, and you got to be ready for that breaking ball. Here on an 0-2, this is the time to throw it.
0-2 count for Burnett, the two-way player who's starting at third base today, but can also throw a couple innings as well as he did this season for the Filth Ballers. As he gets set down in the hole. 0-2 well inside, almost caught him there on the hip, and he backs away for 1-2.
It's just instinct to kind of back out of the way of those types of balls, but having a base runner in this situation wouldn't have been a bad thing. But, you know, you don't want to take gas off the hip.
Especially not if you're Burnett. As there's a 1-2 contact made softly towards the third base side, but it's going to run just on the outside of the first base bag for a foul ball. So it'll be another 1-2 count upcoming between Fager and Burnett.
And Fager, that pitch count's already been pretty high for Fager, who his 10th pitch will be up and coming right here on this 1-2 count. Simpson threw 28 pitches in his first inning of work.
Runner goes, throws well inside for a ball, and no throw down to third base. Look at that from Chris Calhoun. Drew a walk and has already put himself 90 feet from scoring a run and cutting this deficit in half for the Corn Belt League.
Now a fly ball can do you the trick, but of course Carson Burnett is not hitting a fly ball. He's going to want to gap one or put one on the ground here.
Here's Burnett on the 2-2. Just outside, missing the zone. Good framework there from Connor Thompson behind the plate, but missing it, and it's another full count here for Fager.
Yeah, Fager's been doing a really good job of giving these Corn Belt guys a chance to hit.
Here's a full count pitch. It's inside, and it's a walk. Runners on the corners now for the Corn Belt League.
And Carson Burnett, 8 stolen bases on the year. Definitely a threat to steal. It'll be interesting to see with the power hitter Chris Bolifer up to the plate. It'll be interesting to see with runners on the corners if they decide to send him here on no out runners on the corners situation.
And I think the general consensus here is you'll take one pitch and then you'll send Burnett. See if the catcher throws it down because you got speed at third in Calhoun who can make it home without a doubt if the catcher throws down.
100%. You got to think that if Carson Burnett throws and that catcher throws down, Christopher Calhoun is going to read that like a children's book, and he's coming straight home with that.
And you also got to watch for that cutoff between Fager and Thompson. I'm sure that's something they've worked on before. Here's the 0-1 to Bolifer. Misses outside, ball 1.
One thing about Bolifer in his stance is he gets low and his stance is wide, right? So if you look at his stance, he takes up the majority of the batter's box. 90% of the batter's box is his stance. No stride, it's all in those hips.
Contact from Bolifer, but it's a foul ball, and it'll be 1-2.
And we got the opportunity to see these guys take BP earlier today. And a lot of these guys were just trying to figure out the heat. It was hot in that facility, but a lot of these guys were trying to figure out their swings and get rhythm up. But Chris, in my opinion, stood out as one of the best power hitters we saw today.
Contact from Bolifer. It's into foul territory. It looks like it'll go out of play. And, it just hits the other bullpen. So hopefully no one there was in the way of that one, as it's another 1-2 opportunity between Bolifer and Fager. That is one thing here. That main walkway out of this complex is not covered. So foul balls from field 1 and field 5, the field 5, which is what we're on right now, that go into that area are very, very dangerous. People really have to be aware of those, as there's a 1-2 swung on and missed by by Bolifer, who will walk back on a strikeout.
And that is gas from Fager. Threw that ball right past him, solidified that outer half of the plate. That's a great pitch from Garrett Fager right there. And we still got runners at the corners. I'm surprised how Carson Burnett has not stole yet. You'd rather have runners on second and third than first and third.
And with a guy like Rivers up, you want as many runners in scoring position as possible. Matthew Rivers from Des Moines Area Community College, an incredible end to the season, was one of the hottest hitters in July and throughout the postseason as well. Think back to that quarterfinal game where the Filth Ballers played against the Rail Riders, and he went 2 for 3 with 3 RBIs and a really incredible outing from him there in that quarterfinal. He's really stood out as one of the best hitters throughout this Corn Belt League season. Another guy who, just like Bolifer, takes up a lot of that batter's box.
100%.
Pitch in, runner goes, throw down is in time. They're going to throw it back to home. Catcher dropped the ball. He's safe. So both runners are safe.
If the catcher makes that catch, I think Christopher Calhoun was out. That's a great turn at second base by Garrett Wellbrock. Caught the ball immediately. That's a great glove to throw transition right there from Wellbrock. That's ideal. Almost gunned him out at the plate, but I think the slide interrupted that catch. Good job by Christopher Calhoun using your body to create a play. And now the Corn Belt League is on the board here in the bottom of the first with another runner in scoring position.
You cut that in half, and you leave Matthew Rivers at the dish with Burnett at second. Here's the 1-1. It's outside for 2-1.
And that's the thing. Matthew Rivers was a get-on-base machine, led the league in hit by pitches. He is going to attract that ball. He's a big body in that batter's box. He's gonna get his hit by pitches. Big man's going to eat.
And by eat, just get on base here is the message for Rivers as he takes a big swing at that one and misses for 2-2.
I had to make a reference to food.
I think you did, yeah. It's getting to be about dinner time here, and we're stuck here calling this game. We're not going to be able to eat until after this one's over.
I don't mind, though. We got to bring you some Corn Belt action right here.
Of course we do. We're here at Wichita for the Summer Ball Showdown. Goddard, Kansas, actually technically where we're at, as that one misses for 3-2. Genesis Health Club Sports Complex. Beautiful facility. Me and Ethan, you're on the same wavelength. Absolutely stunning facility. 5 fields, all back-to-back, all turf. Incredible facility that we're playing on here for the Corn Belt League. Runner on second is Burnett. Man at the plate is Rivers. One away here in the bottom of the first inning. Here's the pitch. Deep fly ball into center field. Tracking back, tracking to the wall. Is this one gone? No, it's caught at the wall, but Burnett will make it to third. Rivers, oh, I thought he hit that one out.
Man, off the bat, that ball looked like it had a chance. Get up, we will not see you later. Well, that ball just kind of died in the wind. I will note that if we look at the flags out here in the parking lot, the wind is blowing out to right field. But I think Matthew Rivers just pieced up enough of that one to carry it to the wall. You could see the center fielder, Vargas, just continued to go back. He would stop and just keep going back, and the ball just kept continuing to carry. But another big-time power hitter, especially right here with the wind blowing out to right field, and Dylan Fuller.
So after getting the first two base runners on, the next two retired as Fuller makes contact with this one over to third. Throw over to first is in time, and it will be an out. So a quick 5 batters up and 5 batters out here, the Corn Belt League. After getting 2 on to start the inning, fall the next 3 batters with a strikeout, a sacrifice fly into deep center, then a ground out to third base, and that'll be the end of the first inning. 2-1 the score as we head to a quick break. We'll be right back here on the Corn Belt League Network. And we're back here, top of the second inning, as we return to action here at the Genesis Health Sports Complex in Goddard, Kansas. And, well, it was a rough first half inning for Garrett Simpson, Ethan, but hopefully better things ahead as he gets those nerves out of the way in the top half of the first.
100% through 28 pitches, got some time to breathe in the dugout, and comes back and throws gas inside for strike one. So Garrett Simpson is now settling in. His body's loose. That sweat's flowing. We'll see if he can settle in up on the bump.
Like you said, first pitch, strike one, and here's the 0-1. Contact made into center field. DeMonte's getting under it. He reaches up and makes the catch for the first out of the half inning.
Now, it's got to be noted that, yeah, Nick DeMonte is playing center field, but he's not a natural center fielder. He's actually a catcher at his respective school, which is York University. He is a catcher by trade and an outfielder by night. But here, Vern Hasty, who has used him in center field all season for the Black Sox, has got him in starting in center field today.
And it might just be a new position for him. He's excelled in center field as that one well above the head of the next batter, Cooper Nell, the left fielder for Valley Center. As Simpson, after being comfortable with the first batter, is now back to a little bit nervy there against Nell. But like you said, DeMonte, I mean, he excelled in center field this season.
100%.
The 1-0 just misses the outside corner, and it's 2-0.
Nick DeMonte had very few errors out there in center field, and he's very fast. He can cover a lot of area very quickly.
Here's the 2-0 from Simpson. Inside, but it's just high for 3-0. And another batter where falling behind 3-0 for Simpson, you got to throw a strike here.
Yeah, you got to throw a strike. You can see him rubbing his pants. I think sweat's starting to accumulate on the fingers.
And that one outside, it's going to be a 4-pitch walk for Simpson, and a runner on first is Cooper Nell.
Yeah, and Cooper Nell is a very quick man himself. 2 stolen bases, but he was used in a lot of kind of base runner situations. Batting 8th today, This is noted that normally if you're used to batting 10 in the Corn Belt League, you only bat 9. It is NCAA rules. You're only allowed to bat 9. You have a DH for your pitcher. No extra hitter that we saw in the Corn Belt League, but you do have a DH for your pitcher. The DH is up right now.
Noe Pena up for the Mud Daubers, who have a man on first and Cooper Nell. Throw over to first to check the pickoff man was Rivers applies the tag, but it's just a few seconds late, and
Don't turn it down.
Nell has a big lead off. This one ripped through the gap. Burnett knocks it down, has a chance to make the play at first, and it's in time for 1 out, so the runner advances to second, but there is 1 out here for Valley Center.
Great play. Matthew Rivers is a big body at first base. He can cover a lot of area. One thing, that man can move very, very well for his size. He's very quick, very flexible. He can stretch, he can move. That's not your prototypical looking first baseman, but he can move like one.
A very good stretcher. He's got a big body, like you said, and has a really incredible range of motion over that first one. You got to wonder how much yoga that man does in his spare time, because he is flexible beyond belief.
Pilates, yoga, stretching. I bet that man hits the yoga mats after workouts, man. I mean, sheesh, I want his yoga regimen, man. That's probably elite.
It'll bring up Miles Hartman, who was a leadoff man for the Mud Daubers, and his first time up drew a walk, a 5-pitch walk from Seamson. Proceeded to steal second base, but then was caught off on a good defensive play between Ripa and Burnett, who was tagged out at third, as the count now sits 1-0. Contact made. This one deep right center field, tracking it. Sliding catch to Monte. Did he get it? Yes, he did. And there's the side retired Nick DeMonte. Oh, take a bow.
That is why Nick DeMonte does what he does best. Nick DeMonte sliding at the wall. How do you do, Nick DeMonte?
And with that, we'll take a quick break. We'll return here in the bottom of the second inning. The Corn Belt League got one back in the bottom of the first. They'll look to do the same when we return. We're back here, bottom of the second inning between the Corn Belt League and the Valley Center Mud Daubers. And due up for the Corn Belt League, Madsen, Ripa, DeMonte. And we were talking about this at the last break. This is 3 guys that could all be batting 1 through 4 for this Corn Belt League, and they're stuck here in the 6, 7, 8 slot for the Corn Belt League. I mean, it's crazy how deep this hitting roster goes.
100%. Ken Madsen, among qualified hitters with 30 or more plate appearances, led the league in batting average. So that's pretty elite that you can have him batting in your 6th spot.
He'll work a 1-1 count here against Fager, who gave up 5 base runners, but only gave up 1 run in the bottom of the first inning. 2-1 count here as Madsen looks at strike 2. That's definitely one he wanted back there. Madsen steps back out and checks in with Vern Hasty over at third. Contact made. Madsen high, pop fly into shallow right center. Looks like it'll be caught by the right fielder, Schaefer, who's battling a little bit of wind there. He kept trailing over to his left, but eventually makes the catch.
Yeah, sun's really not a problem for any of these outfielders. The sun is setting behind left field-ish, kind of on a walkway between the fields over here. So it's not really a problem for any of the fielders or really any of the hitters. Maybe lefties that sun could get in your eye, but not really a problem.
Swing foul ball there from Ripa in his first pitch that he looks at, so he'll be behind the count 0-1.
Yeah, Ripa is another one of those guys that, man, batting in the 7-hole position, you don't see very often.
That one misses for ball 1. Now the count sits 1-1 between Ripa and Fager.
28th pitch coming up for Fager here. 2 walks, no strikeouts.
Check swing from Ripa, but they're saying he went, so it'll be a 1-2 count.
Not able to hold back. That high heat got Ripa to bounce.
Here's the 1-2 from Fager. Contact made into left field. Closing in on it is left fielder Nell, and he'll reach up and make the grab for the second out.
Yeah, he kind of misplayed that ball originally. Came a little too far forward. That ball almost beat him. But next, the birthday boy. Happy 21st birthday to Nick DeMonte, who just made one of the plays of the year that we've seen personally in center field. We'll see if he can get it done at the plate.
Yeah, running over to his left, sliding at the warning track, and a catch there as he shows bunt, and the first pitch well over his head from Fager. Maybe Fager knows it's his birthday. Was throwing him a little bit of warning music as DeMonte will step out and check in with Vern Hasty over at third and step back into the box. August 2nd, 2002. He turns 21 today. Swung on, contact made, but it's foul, and the count now sits 1-1.
And DeMonte is one of the best bunters in the Corn Belt League. Got a lot down during this season. Will note that he is not supporting the pink bat, which was ever so famous for Nick DeMonte this Corn Belt League season. Got a new bat, and he's swinging that one instead.
And that one misses for ball 2, so it'll be 2-1 between DeMonte and Fager.
DeMonte's got to be really selective. The first pitch that you see that you can take, you got to take.
That one in the dirt, and DeMonte will step out. It'll be a 3-1 count between Fager and DeMonte. And DeMonte, a really patient hitter there. Sorry, Ethan, as I cut you off there a little bit, but DeMonte is one of the most patient hitters I've ever seen, especially when he was taking BP, just waited for that right one to hit.
That's exactly what I was going to say.
That one fouled off well into the other field, as watch out, field 5. A ball's coming your way. Field 1 in immediate danger, so they do stop the play over there and get rid of that ball. An interesting thing to note there, it is, like you said pregame, up to the umpire's discretion, and they decide to stop play over there to get rid of that ball. Contact made. It's a one-hopper over to third. On the fly, the throw by Baldwin in time, but it's a safe over at first for Nick DeMonte, showing off the speed a little bit. We saw it in center field. We see it here on the base paths. He's the first base runner of the bottom of the second inning for the Corn Belt League.
And Nick DeMonte, he'll tell you, it's not about the dog in the fight, it's about the size of your heart. He's 5'4", a little bit undersized, and he'll tell you that. He'll be the first one to tell you that, but he's very quick, and pretty much everyone's taller than him, and he's going to make fun of me for that comment.
Oh, they got him in a pickle. He's still going to cut over to second, and the throw, we're waiting for a ruling. It looks like went into left field, so Nick DeMonte gets away with one there. The ball makes its way into left field from the first baseman, Gaskin, who just well missed it. I lost the ball there in the sun a little bit. Thank you, Ethan, for that one. And DeMonte gets away with one there.
I know first base coach OB is going to be on those guys about that type of stuff.
That pitch in there for strike one. And after all that drama, we finally get the first pitch of the next at-bat. Braden Jackson batting ninth, but essentially just a second leadoff man. Contact hitter who has a ton of speed at the bottom of the lineup, and this is who you want going into the top of your next lineup. Here's the 0-1. Contact made, but it's right to the second baseman, Wellbrock. Throw over to first is in time, and that'll be the side. The score remains 2-1 between the Valley City Mud Daubers and the Corn Belt League Omaha team. We'll take a quick break. We'll be back with top of the third action as the Mud Daubers get back to the plate. It's Schaefer, Vargas, and Gaskin due up for the team from the KCLB. We'll be right back.
Hey,
back here as we're flying through this game. We're already to the top of the third inning between the Valley Center Mud Daubers and the Corn Belt League Omaha side. And, well, if you pay attention to our socials here, very soon we have a little logo guessing game that we played with a couple of these guys during their couple practices that they had. And the Valley Center Mud Daubers were one of the teams that were shown just because, well, the logo just kind of looks like a hornet here. As you can see on your screen, it's just kind of like a basic hornet or a bee or a wasp, but I don't think anyone got the Mud Daubers correct there.
Both teams that were playing in our pool play games were teams that the guys had to guess and guess the logo. Tomorrow we're playing the Dallas-Fort Worth Ravages. That's one of the teams the guys had to guess as well.
And nobody got that one right either, as Seamson steps in for the first pitch of the inning, and it's a strike in there, forcing a miss from Schieffer.
That was a slider. I haven't seen him throw too many sliders this season. That had great horizontal break on it.
Here's the 0-1. Contact made. It's an 0-2 count, and Seamson working quickly here against Cole Schieffer. Seamson steps back in. Here's the 0-2 from Seamson. Just misses high and away for 1-2.
Yeah, Seamson from Mount Marty University. NAIA school up in South Dakota.
Contact made on the 1-2 on the inside of the bat. He kind of sawed that one off into foul territory, and it'll be another 1-2 count. And walking away from that is Schieffer. You know that one stung his hands a little bit.
Yeah, and it jammed him inside. I think his bat broke. Or got him in on the hands. He swung the ball. He swung the bat nonetheless, but I think it maybe cracked his bat, hurt his hand. I'm not sure quite what happened. It looks like he has a brand new stick of lumber right there.
And he'll walk back to the batter's box, and we'll do it again here with the 1-2 count. Seamson working against Cole Schieffer, leading off the top of the third inning for the Valley Center Mud Daubers. They lead 2-1 thanks to an RBI double in the first inning from Brandon Gaskin, who's due up third in this inning. Contact made right back up the gap. This one's going to take a high bounce. Jackson, quick play over to first. Rivers just missed it.
That's a really tough play from Braden Jackson. He had to run over to his right to get to that ball. Had to throw off balance on the run a little bit, coming across the middle of the infield. That's a tough play. Matthew Rivers not able to glove that. That's a tough play for him as well. That's just back-to-back tough plays.
And the leadoff man gets on, and Schieffer on a single.
Stolen base threat we saw in that first inning. He can steal the base. He stole a base on the first two pitches of this next at-bat to Vargas.
We're expecting a few defensive substitutions here for the Corn Belt League very soon. You know, these first two pool play games are going to lead to a lot of defensive changes, and especially in this heat as well. The first change we're expecting is the catcher, Bolifer, will most likely be relieved after he catches this half inning for either one of the other two catchers on this Corn Belt League side. As the ball gets past Bolifer and coasting over to second is Schieffer.
Yeah, Seamson just hasn't really been able to find his groove and settle in quite yet. That fastball's kind of been losing a little bit command on the outer half of the plate, and he just really hasn't been able to find that groove quite yet. We're looking to see if maybe he can get that in. I would expect Vern to utilize the majority of the pitchers that he can here in this first game.
Yeah, we're expecting pitchers to only go 3-4 innings max as well. Once again, especially because of the heat here. 106 at the time of the first pitch, as there's a swing and a miss there from Vargas for a 2-1 count.
It is supposed to cool down as we go throughout the night, but yeah, at first pitch, the temperature was a blistering 106 degrees here in Goddard, Kansas. Another
big swing and a miss there from Vargas, and Seamson has slowly worked back into the count, and now it's 2-2.
Yeah, good job by Seamson. You start down 2-0, and then you tie the count up at 2 apiece. See if you can find and channel that put-away pitch right here on the 2-2.
Here is that 2-2 from Seamson. With Schieffer on second, it's inside there for strike 3 looking, and Seamson gets his first K of the night.
And it's a backwards K nonetheless, painted that inside corner. Vargas didn't like the call. He thought that ball was creeping a little too far inside, but nonetheless, you got to take what the umpire gives you and don't throw a fit. Because if you argue balls and strikes, the umpire is going to pull pull you out and throw you out of this game as quickly as you can blink.
Gonna bring up Gaskin, whose RBI double in the first scored the only 2 runs of the game for the Valley Center Mud Daubers. And with Schieffer on second, any hit to the outfield is scoring him unless it's a sac fly. As the first pitch is in there for strike 1.
Like you said, Gaskin, his last at bat, had the RBI for the first RBI, for the Mud Daubers, an absolute rope into right field.
As here's the 0-1, and stepping off and not throwing it down there is Seamson, so that'll be his official, quote, timeout for the at-bat. You only get one of those step-offs where you don't throw the ball. Contact made, another high fly ball into left field. Tracking back is Madsen, losing it in the sun a little bit, but he reaches over and makes the grab. Advancing over to third is Schieffer. The relay throw just not in time. And while Gaskin had the hit to the outfield, he hit it well, got a good piece of that one, but all it does is advance Schieffer over to third and put 2 away on the scoreboard.
Yeah, that was a pieced up hit right there from Gaskin, and we've seen 2 balls from both teams respectively that have been pretty well hit, but just caught at the warning track. Madsen has a good enough arm to throw him out, but ball was just thrown a little too short, and he was hit to his cutoff man, Ripa. But Ripa had a nice transition on over.
Bolifer with a good sliding block to keep the ball in front of him, and the count sits 1-0 against Jamie Baldwin. Last time up, a sacrifice fly to advance a runner. As the count sits 1-0 with 2 away here in the top of the 3rd inning. Seamson gets set and ready for the 1-0. Pitch is in. It's low for ball 2. And again, Seamson falling behind on these hitters. He's now 2-0 on this hitter like he was in the last one as well. As here's the 2-0 from Seamson. Stepping onto the mound, and in the stretch, the throw down is another miss just wide for 3-0.
That didn't miss by much. That was a very good pitch from Seamson. I mean, on 2-0, that's pretty much where you would put it any other time, but just missed.
That one in there for strike 1, so it's 3-1 count. Seamson with a chance to slowly work back in the count. Got to assume the red light there from Baldwin. You don't want to get caught swinging on a pitch well outside, especially with 2 outs. And now the 3-1 count. Big swing and a miss there from Baldwin, and Seamson has done well to work it back to a full count, 3-2 with 2 away.
53rd pitch for Seamson in this game coming up here on this 3-2 2-out pitch, and this would be a big 53rd pitch.
3-2 the payoff. Contact made. It's soft over to Jackson at second. He'll field it cleanly. Throw over to first is in time, and that will be it for the side. Well worked by Seamson after falling behind most of his hitters. Gets away unscathed, and the top of the 3rd will have the Corn Belt League up to bat when we return here on the Corn Belt League Network. And we're back here at the Corn Belt League. Gets ready to bat here in the bottom of the 3rd at the Genesis Health Club Sports Complex here in Goddard, Kansas. And it's been a beautiful night here of baseball, although it is a little bit hot. But the score sits 2-1. Both teams scoring in the first inning. 2 in the top half of the first for the away side, the Mud Daubers, and 1 in the bottom half of the first for the Corn Belt League. This one hit into left, tracking over and making the catch is Nell. That was top of the order, and Chris Calhoun getting contact on that one, but it's an easy fly out to left field.
Took the first pitch he saw and absolutely rocketed that into left field, but Nell is very quickly out there. He moves quickly, covers a lot of ground. We've seen a couple catches from him out there in left field so far, but that's not a bad piece of hitting right there from Christopher Calhoun.
I'm going to bring up Carson Burnett. Last time up, he drew a walk and then stole second. That one in there for strike 1.
Seems like that inside pitch is kind of the favorite pitch for the umpire here in this ball game. He's really, really favoring that inside strike.
Here's the 0-1. That one outside and right on cue. It's a ball, so it'll be 1-1. Burnett steps back in. His attempted stolen base was what actually brought Chris Calhoun in to score the first run of the game for the Corn Belt League. A big swing and a miss there from Burnett for 1-2. And he'll take a long walk around the catcher to reset for the 1-2 pitch.
Yeah, and we saw him in his last at bat working the exact same count. 1-2, he fouled off a couple and then watched 3 straight balls to draw a walk.
Here's the 1-2. This one hit right back up the gap into shallow center field, and it'll fall for a single for Carson Burnett.
And that's what Carson Burnett did all year for the Omaha Field Ballers, was just piece up balls that were in his sweet zone. And his sweet zone's pretty big. Carson Burnett is one of the best hitters that you will see when it comes to barrel control. What I mean by barrel control is keeping his barrel through the zone as long as possible, and that's what makes a great hitter in Carson Burnett, who finished the season batting .365 for the Filth Ballers.
So with a man on first and Burnett, it'll bring up Chris Bola for the power-hitting catcher. And what is most likely his last at-bat of the afternoon. They were speaking to Coach Vern Hasty both last night in the hotel and today as well. The plan has always been you run 3 catchers, 3 innings each so that they don't get tired, don't get heat stroke. You do not want catchers with all that gear on to be burning up in this heat, really. And 2 pickoff throws over to first, both of them not in time for Burnett, who gets back both times safely. And the count still remains 0-0 for Bolifer. Here's the 0-0 pitch. Inside, ball 1.
Like you mentioned, this will be the last time we'll see Bolifer in this game. We'll see him tomorrow, however, but just in this game, like you said, with the heat and how hot and humid it is, you want to rotate catchers because with all that gear, it can get pretty hot pretty quick.
Another throw back over to first to try and catch Burnett, but it looks like Burnett is not slipping up.
It looks like Fager's more worried about Burnett than he was Christopher Calhoun, and Christopher Calhoun has about triple more stolen bases than Carson Burnett.
Just an interesting thing to note there is now Burnett goes, and this one lifted high into left center field. Calling everyone off is Vargas, and making the catch is Vargas in center field. So it's 2 away, and Burnett returns to first.
Little hit and run situation. Bolifer needed to get that one on the ground, however. That was a situation to get the runner moving and try to get him going from second to third. By the time that ball was caught, however, Carson Burnett was standing at second base. I think if that ball's in the gap, he's scoring 100%.
It'll bring up the cleanup hitter, Matthew Rivers, for the Corn Belt League, the big man from DMAC, who, like we've mentioned time and time again, just an incredible month of July and an incredible postseason. Was alongside his catcher on the Filth Ballers, Anthony Nino, one of the standout performers in both of their quarterfinal and their semifinal games before the Filth Ballers eventually fell to the Red Raiders in the championship game. Like you mentioned, Ethan, an incredible game. Definitely recommend to go back and watch that one. Just drama happening from all ends as you got closer and closer to the end of the game. A script that rivaled one of a Hollywood movie as the Filth Ballers, in their 4th consecutive title game, fell for the first time after winning back-to-back Corn Belt League championships. They finally fall to the Red Raiders, who won for the last time in 2018 and captured their 2nd Corn Belt League title in 2023. Checking over Burnett at first. That one hits Burnett as he's safe, and he's got a chance to go to second. They're pushing him over to third. Burnett aggressive on the base paths, and he'll head over to third base in time.
That's exactly what the Corn Belt needed, but I was going to talk about Matthew Rivers and why he takes up a majority of the stance. If you talk to Matthew Rivers, he'll tell you exactly one reason: leverage. He gets leverage in that box. He gets low. It's easier for a hitter to generate power when you're low already and you can just come up and swing. if you watch Matthew Rivers swing, which I'm sure you'll watch him at least, we'll see him once or twice in this at-bat swing, he will use all hips. Him and Chris Bullifer are kind of the same way. He uses all hips, but when you're 6'3" and over 225 pounds, you can use a lot of that power that you sustain and drive the ball.
That one outside, and now the first pitch of the at-bat is a 1-0, so been a little bit of time there before Fager had thrown one at home for a pitch, and Rivers watches it go by for 1-0. Here's the 1-0, and it's in the dirt for 2-0.
And we saw Matthew Rivers all season just get real patient at the plate. He got better and better as the season went on, and his stats will tell you top 5 walks, most hit by pitches.
The 2-0 is in the dirt again for 3-0.
I think you have the red light. You have the red light right here on 3-0. You got a runner on third, 2 outs. You don't want to hit into a pop fly. You want to try to get this runner across right here.
Here's the 3-0. And, well, it wasn't a red light as Rivers swings on that one, and it's a foul ball well behind. That one could be headed to a different field entirely, not just one of the neighboring fields, as it goes well over our press box, and it's a 3-1 count.
That's interesting that you have the 3-1. It maybe was a situation where you see the best pitch and you just go get it.
Here's the 3-1 from Rivers. Swung on, contact sharp to the shortstop, Hartman, over to first, and the throw is in time. And unfortunately, with Burnett at third, the Corn Belt League unable to capitalize, and they'll head to the top of the 4th inning, still down 1 in this 2023 Summer Ball Showdown. Don't go anywhere. We'll be right back after a quick break here on the Corn Belt League Network. And we're back here, top of the 4th upcoming, but we brought you back a little bit sooner because there's been a pitching change here on the mound after 3 innings of work. Seamson gets the call off. It'll be Aiden Urbaum from Dakota State University checking in, and he's a guy with experience in this tournament. Played last year, had a player of the game performance last year. You can watch that interview right here on our YouTube channel. If you go back to last August, you'll see me getting absolutely very tan here at the Genesis Sports Complex. It was a very, very rough day when I forgot my sunscreen, but Urbaum did not have a rough day on the mound that night, and he'll be back here trying to salvage this one a little bit for the Corn Belt League.
Yeah, 53 strikeouts for the Omaha Bombers for Aiden Urbaum, and he throws gas, but he's got a little unconventional type-esque warm-up. First pitch was fouled back in the netting for strike 1, but he's got a little bit of an unconventional wind-up. He kind of short arms it, but he throws and he delivers that ball in an awkward arm slot for these hitters.
And he was the main reason why his 7-seed Bombers team won their first game against the Crop Dusters in the Corn Belt League playoff. As that pitch misses for 2-1.
And Urbaum goes to the same school as Curtis Flint, Dakota State University, who seem to be producing very great pitchers. That one well outside for 3-1. And Urbaum is throwing very hard off the mound just to command a little here and there. But Aiden Erbaum, who posted a 1.22 ERA and only 7 earned runs and 40 and a third innings pitched.
Here's a 3-1 from Erbaum. Needs a strike. This one hit right back up the gap, right to Repo. Gloves it on 2 hops. Throw over to first is dropped by Rivers. An unfortunate drop there from Matthew Rivers, who just lost his concentration on the ball, and reaching first in time is Welbrock.
And you rarely saw Matthew Rivers make an error. He actually did not record a single error in this season. So my bad. He recorded 2 errors this season, but you rarely saw him record an error, and he was as surefire as you could have got at first base.
So that'll put Welbrock on first. I'll bring up the catcher, Connor Thompson. First pitch misses inside, and Erbaum trying to find that inside line, doesn't get the call there, and it's 1-0.
As Erbaum's locating inside, but that strike zone seems to have withered away on the inside part of the plate.
Erbaum checks over to first, but it's a lazy throw. Erbaum is one of the pitchers who, during the Corn Belt League season, he loved to check over to the first and not throw the ball. But in this game here, in this tournament, if you don't throw the ball, that counts as your mound timeout, essentially. So Erbaum making the smart decision there to lazily throw the ball over to first. This one fouled well behind the press box, and it'll be a 1-1 count.
Yeah, Erbaum was one of those that likes to check over at the runners at first, second, or third. But with the NCAA runners rule where you can step off and you have a timeout and you have to throw over, he's kind of had to alter how he handles base runners out on the bases.
Here's the 1-1 with the runner on first in Welbrock.
And he's got a very quick pickoff move. It's kind of a hybrid jump step off where if you blink, you may miss it type of move. So these base runners for Valley Center going to have to really be watching that back foot for Aiden Erbaum.
So we'll try again here with the 1-1. Erbaum, another pickoff move, and it's just off time. So Erbaum will step back onto the mound now with a 1-1 count. Got Thompson at the plate.
No wasted movement for Aiden Erbaum on that pickoff.
The throw down. Stuck in there, but it just misses low for ball 2.
I don't think that missed by very much. I think you and I just may be used to a decently big strike zone at the Corn Belt, but these pitches are looking like they're painting the corners.
Not getting the calls are the Corn Belt League. A little bit of a different strike zone here as this one's rocketed back up into shallow right center field. Getting under it is the right fielder Fuller, and returning to first is Welbrock.
Dylan Fuller from San Joaquin Delta College out in California, played for Vern Hasty and the Black Sox this season. But all the guys will tell you that he is one of the only players to bat flip a double this season. That you can actually see Caben Steenbach talk about that on all of our social medias, as Caben Steenbach loves to give him a hard time about bat flipping a double.
Gotta celebrate the hits you can get, I guess, if you're Fuller. Big swing and a miss there for strike 1 on the next hitter, who's Cooper Nell. Last time up, drew a walk, and this time up, misses his first pitch for 0-1.
And Erbaum, we're seeing him kind of settle in here a little bit. I think he's trying to find that fastball, but Welbrock inching a little bit further out from the base on command.
And there's that pickoff move by Erbaum. That one a little bit slower. He is kind of just still adjusting to the new rules where he has to throw the ball over to first. So even if it's a lazy throw, you don't want to force a throw over there and misthrow it. As he'll step back in on the 0-1. Big swing and a miss. Just blew that one by him for 0-2.
And Erbaum's fastball can reach up to 84 miles an hour. That's his PR off the mound, off the bump. Excuse me, and he'll be the first one to tell you that he could probably get a little bit higher. But with the heat, you want to kind of lay back, conserve energy.
Base runners Garrett Welbrock. As that pitch is in there, and Rivers got the back pick from McCoy at the dish, but Rivers has to get down on 2 knees and block that one. The throw is a little bit low. So good work from Rivers to eat that ball up and not allow the base runner to advance.
Right idea by Cooper McCoy. Great play by Matthew Rivers, however, like you said, blocking the ball, getting in front of that.
Here's the 1-2 from Erbaum. Got him swinging. Looks like it was a foul tip, and so McCoy Grabbing onto his left thigh. Looks like that foul tip caught him in the wrong spot.
And you can see Aiden Erbaum smiling out there. I think that got him in the heebie-jeebies.
Looks like McCoy will walk it off a little bit. He takes that mask off, just searching for some air. And it looks like he'll be good to go after a few moments of deliberation, maybe a few moments of pain there for McCoy. As Cooper now steps back in, the left fielder wearing the number 4 in the yellow jerseys for the Mud Daubers. One away in the top of the 4th for Erbaum. Runner on first is Wellbrock. Here's the 1-2. Fastball got him swinging. Well outside the zone, but got him to chase, and Erbaum with his first strikeout of the night.
And that's the first time that we've seen a off-speed or a breaking ball from Aiden Erbaum. You got to think that he was setting one up eventually for one of these Mud Daubers, but he was just meticulous with how he was going to locate that pitch. Great late sweeping action off the plate. Neal was not going to make contact with that ball. That's a beautiful pitch from Aiden Erbaum.
Bring him Noe Pena. Big swing and a miss for strike 1 for Pena, and Erbaum is slowly locking in.
And Erbaum's the type of guy that gives you the energy. He revitalizes your team. He shoots that energy spark in your team. When you watch him pitch, you're motivated. I'm motivated.
Here's the 0-1 from Erbaum. Another swing and a miss for strike 2.
It's truly inspirational. I was a pitcher back in my day, but Aiden Erbaum, man, I could learn, everyone could learn a thing or two from Aiden Erbaum. Erbaum just controls himself so well out there out on the mound.
Ethan about to shed a tear. Here's the 0-2 with 2 away. Got him swinging, and the tag applied. Strikeout number 2 in a row for Aiden Erbaum, and we'll head to the bottom of the 4th inning. The Corn Belt League still searching for that equalizer. Back here, and after an inspirational performance that almost brought the man right next to me to tears by Aiden Erbaum, the Corn Belt League steps in. Dylan Fuller, Cam Madsen, and Nick Ripa due up here in the bottom of the 4th inning for the Corn Belt League.
I've seen a lot of motivational things in my day, Arnav, but watching Aiden Erbaum control the bump will move a man to emotions that he never would have thought would have been possible.
Here's the first pitch to Fuller, swung on and missed by Fuller. And although we can talk about Erbaum's pitching performance there in that last half inning, Garrett Fager's been cooking all game, Ethan. He's been having an extremely successful, efficient outing for this Valley Center Mud Daubers team. And looking at the stats, you wouldn't have expected it coming in, but he's done extremely well for the Mud Daubers.
100%. And, you know, he's got his 56th pitch of the game coming up. That's a pretty good pitch count that he's working with.
Here's the 1-1. Contact made in foul territory and well behind us here in the press box for 1-2 for Fuller. Last time up, he grounded out to the third baseman. Here's the 1-2. Contact made, fouled off. Good work there from Fuller to stay alive.
One thing about Dylan Fuller is that he is going to work that pitch count. He is not going to settle for a quick 1-2, 0-2. He's really going to settle, and he's really going to light it up.
Talk about quality at bats. Dylan Fuller, one of the best at them in the Corn Belt League. Here's the 1-2, up and away for 2-2.
And Dylan Fuller he's electric up at the plate, but he is one of the best at working counts. And Vern Hasty will tell you that. Vern Hasty was Dylan Fuller's coach in this season.
3-2 now the count. And so look at that one. It's strike three looking for Fuller, and Garrett Fager celebrates.
I mean, that was a beautiful pitch. That breaking ball dropped right in there. And Dylan Fuller knew right away when that ball crossed home plate that he missed an opportunity. That's a great pitch from Fager, who's been absolutely dominating, his second strikeout of the ball game. And so that's just what the Mud Daubers need to keep giving these Corn Belt leaguers.
It'll bring up Cam Matson here, who, talking about quality at bats, Cam Matson second in the Corn Belt League, tied for first with extraordinary hitter Dylan Brisbois of the Red Raiders. Cam Matson of the Bombers was second in the Corn Belt League in quality at bats, and he's followed up by Nick Ripa, who was third in the Corn Belt League in quality at bats. So a lot of good, smart hitters up at the plate here soon for the Corn Belt League, and it all starts here with Cam Matson.
100%. You got a lot of guys that know how to work pitches. They recognize what their sweet spot is, and that's exactly what Cam Matson, who is also one of the best pure hitters that we have in the Corn Belt League.
The 1-1 hits off the inside shoulder of Matson, so he'll head over to first.
And just like you would get stung by a bee or a hornet, those will sting you. I think he's got an elbow guard, however, but those will still ring you up a little bit. Those will kind of get your bones rattling a little bit. Cam Matson's very fast. He's been playing left field very well today. I would expect a little bit of a hit-and-run situation with Nick Ripa. And you would want to maybe play things short. It looks like the outfield, at least center and left, are playing pretty deep. The left fielder's playing pretty far back. He's almost playing the warning track. So if you could bloop a little single into left field, you could get a nice little runner going around the bases then.
Especially with Cam Matson's speed, you wouldn't doubt it with how far back the outfield is playing. First pitch misses for ball one. And stepping back in is Ripa, playing shortstop today for the Corn Belt League. And we're expecting a lot of defensive changes to happen here soon for the Corn Belt League. Coach Vern Hasty, the max he wanted to run these guys out 6 innings, and then we'll see those changes start to come in. Maybe see some earlier. We already saw one at catcher. Saw Cooper McCoy come in for Chris Bolifer. Bolifer went 0 for 2 on the night, unfortunately for him, as Ripa steps back in with the 1-0 count. That one misses low and away for 2-0.
And Ripa's going to work pitch count. You mentioned earlier about how he's third in the Corn Belt League, or was third in the Corn Belt League this past season in working quality pitch count, or working quality at bats. We've got another one cooking right here.
The 2-0 count, and Ripa will check in here for the 2-0. Contact made, right back up the gap. It's into right center field, closing in on it, and making the grab in right field is Schieffer.
What a play from Schieffer out there in right field. That ball was for sure heading for the gap, but what a play out there. A reaching, jumping, leaping grab out there in right field by Schieffer, which could have potentially saved the game-tying run here in the bottom of the fourth. What a play out there from Schieffer.
It'll bring up DeMonte, the man from York University, playing center field, and we've said it all season. It's not his natural position, but he excels at it. We saw him with an absolute gem of a sliding catch out there to end the second inning, save a run for the Valley Center Mud Daubers from scoring. A defensive machine, but he can get the work done at the plate as well.
100%, and he's one of those guys that is not afraid up at the plate. He will lay down bunts. He'll square up 3-0s. He's one of those types of guys that you want in this type of situation, down one in the bottom of the fourth.
2 away. First pitch swung on, lifted into right field. It's tracked well by Schieffer, and he'll get under it and make the grab. So good contact from DeMonte, but it's an out nonetheless for the Corn Belt League, and we'll head to the top of the fifth when we return here on the Corn Belt League Network. Top of the order here in the top of the fifth inning for the Valley Center Mud Daubers as they take a 2-1 lead. All 3 runs being scored in the first inning for either side, but since then it's been Seamson and Erbaum holding it down for the Corn Belt League, and Erbaum's on the mound right now. Retired the last 3 batters he faced after giving a leadoff single up. And this one, contact made, a leaping grab into left field, but misses the glove of Burnett, and it'll be a double for the leadoff man, Miles Hartman. He's on base for the second time in 3 chances today.
Yeah, that was almost a spectacular play at third base by Carson Burnett. Looks like it did hit a little bit of that glove, which kind of forced it to the wall in left field, and that allowed Miles Hartman to advance to second base. What would have been ideal right there is what if he would have just knocked it down and it would have stayed right in front of him. That would have just probably been a single, but nonetheless, with how Erbaum's been pitching out on the mound, you got to think that quality at-bats for the Mud Daubers is going to be key.
And you got to think if Burnett didn't touch that one, was that one tailing out? As this one's lifted deep into right field. Tracking back is Fuller. He'll make the grab, and tagging up is Hartman, and he'll make it to third base standing up as he'll advance on the sacrifice fly, and there's one away here in the top of the fifth inning.
Erbaum forces quick plays. He doesn't like to work deep in the counts. His pitch count so far has been very low. That was the 20th pitch. Or no, excuse me, that was the 19th pitch. His 20th pitch is coming up right here. So working quickly, I mean, that's right on track for where you need to be.
I'll bring up Jeffrey Vargas, the center fielder for the Mud Daubers, with a man on third, and Hartman, who has yet to score a run this game, was tagged out, by Burnett after the throw from Ripa. Contact to the second baseman, and throw over to first is in time, but the run does score. So Hartman tacks another one on to this Mud Daubers lead, and Vargas will tack an RBI to his total after scoring a run in the first inning.
I mean, that's exactly what you wanted to do right there. That's a great piece of hitting right there from the Mud Daubers. You get Jeffrey Vargas, who just had to get a ball in play somewhere. The last thing you wanted to do was strike out or pop up in short field territory, but he did exactly what he needed to do.
Bring up Brandon Gaskin, who's 2 RBI double in the first, got things started for the Mud Daubers. They just tacked another one on just a few moments ago. The count now 0-1. Here's the 0-1 from Erbaum, working quickly. It's in there for strike 2.
Like I said, as long as Erbaum's out on the mound, the Corn Belt League is going to have a chance.
Here's the 0-2 from Erbaum with 2 away in the top of the 5th inning. Swung on, missed in the ground. McCoy applies a tag, and it's the 3rd strikeout in 2 innings for Aiden Erbaum. He is dealing right now for the Corn Belt League, but they've got 2 runs to make up now when we return here on the Corn Belt League Network.
Welcome back to Genesis Health Sports Complex here in the bottom of the 5th inning as Braden Jackson, the lefty, will step up to the plate 0 for 1 in today's ball game, and he'll watch strike one outside. Braden Jackson grounded out to second base in his last at-bat in the bottom of the 2nd inning.
Yeah, and Jackson's just a contact hitter who's got a lot of speed, kind of like a second leadoff man, so just the guy you'd want here leading off the bottom of the 5th inning for this Corn Belt League side.
But he's down quick 0-2 after that last pitch was called strike in on the letters. It'll be an 0-2 pitch from Fager. And Braden Jackson will ground that one over to second base. That'll be thrown on in time from Wellbrock to Gaskin. A quick 3-pitch ground out for Fager here, who continues to throw a gem here in the bottom of the 5th.
Yeah, Fager's been by far Valley Center's best player out there on the field today. I mean, he's done it all with the pitching side of things. Been quick, been efficient, forced a lot of weak contact from these Corn Belt League hitters. The Corn Belt League really needs to step up their contact, needs to get harder hits on the balls here if they want to slowly make a comeback in this one.
Now we go back to the top of the order for Chris Calhoun, who watches strike one outside. The Corn Belt League down 3-1 here in the bottom of the 5th, as they've only been able to piece 2 hits so far, as ball one is a little bit low and outside. It'll knot the count up at 1 apiece.
This is where Fager has excelled in these even counts. He's really done well at these 1-1, 2-2 counts, getting that third strike, getting that strikeout.
The 1-1 is just a little bit outside, does not catch that outside part of the plate. It'll be a 2-1 count.
Another good pitch there from Fager, but like we said all game, this umpire has just been favoring the inside of the plate a little bit more.
The 2-1, a little bit low. That'll be ball 3 as as Chris Calhoun has watched back-to-back-to-back balls. We might have the count wrong. I think it is actually. 3-1. Yep. 3-1 pitch from Fager. That ball will be grounded on over to third. It will be in time as he is able to get the speedy Calhoun from Yami Baldwin to Gaskin, and that's another quick out for Fager here in the bottom of the 5th.
Yeah, Calhoun was absolutely flying there. He's been the fastest guy in terms of stealing bases this Corn Belt League season, and it looks like Jaime Baldwin did a good job there of recognizing the speed, making that transfer quickly, charged it on the bell well, really made a great play over there at third.
Carson Burnett ropes one into center field. First pitch he sees, and that's his second base hit of the ball game. And he takes that first pitch, and we've got runners on first here in the bottom of the 5th after that Carson Burnett single.
Well, 2 away already, but you always love a little bit of 2-out hitting from Burnett. He did it all season long. He's been a very clutch hitter for the Filth Ballers during the Corn Belt League regular season, and it'll bring up, for his first at-bat of the game, Cooper McCoy.
Another Filth Baller. You see a couple of Filth Ballers on the lineup today as the young man from Lyons College will swing and miss at strike number 1. Carson Burnett was involved in scoring the only run of the ball game for the Corn Belt League. He stole second, which allowed Christopher Calhoun to come home, but he gets a tiptoe lead off of first as Fager looks over and Burnett's back in time.
Yeah, and Fager, although he makes a ton of pickoff throws, he's picked off Carson Burnett. He's tried to pick off Carson Burnett a ton of times. His biggest thing has been he's been able to refocus his concentration back to a hitter and still throw a good at-bat.
The 0-1 and Burnett is off. That ball is inside. Carson Burnett is going to be in there just in the nick of time. That was a great throw from Connor Thompson behind the plate. But Miles Hartman was not able to apply that tag in time, and that advances 90 more feet in a runner's in scoring position.
Yeah, great move there from Burnett. Got a little bit of a late jump. That play was a lot closer than you'd expect there from Burnett. A great throw by Thompson as well, right on line, but Burnett's speed just a little bit too much for the Mud Daubers.
The 1-1 to McCoy. That ball is in the dirt. That'll get to the backstop, and Carson Burnett will advance 90 more feet, and he comes hauling round in third. So back-to-back balls advancing 90 more feet to second, and then 90 more feet to third for Carson Burnett.
And yeah, well, you don't want what happened last time to happen again. Another runner that was stranded at third as Madsen made it all the way to third last time up in the last inning, and then the Corn Belt League left him stranded. So if you're McCoy, the big thing here is don't get out. Bring him home or get on base. Do not be that final out with a man on third.
2 balls, 1 strike, and Cooper McCoy will sky that one over into the other fields, the complex. That ball was hit very well. So we're kind of used to, in the Corn Belt League press box at Seymour Smith, having those balls kind of shoot right over you. But nonetheless, the 2-ball, 2-strike, 2-out pitch to Cooper McCoy. That ball will be just high. That was a beautiful pitch from Fager, but it just missed a little bit high. And I bet McCoy is counting his blessings up at the plate. It's now full count.
Yeah, I would have swung at that one. Full disclosure, a beautiful pitch. That would have caught me on my knees, absolutely swinging out of my shoes.
Full count. Carson Burnett leads off at third. Cooper McCoy does a good job staying alive. That'll be fouled back.
And when you foul those ones just back, you know you just got under it. McCoy's seeing the ball well here, making good contact, just missing it by a few inches here and there. Baseball's a game of inches, and Cooper McCoy just needs a few to go his way, and he'll bring in that run to close in on the Mud Daubers lead.
As Cooper McCoy watches a 3-2 curveball, the backwards K for Garrett Fager, and we go to the top of the sixth, and Fager continues to work out on the mound for the Valley Center Mud Daubers. Top of the sixth here from the Genesis Sports Complex, and Aiden Erbaum goes out there for his third inning of relief. We've got some defensive substitutions out there. Caben Steenbach is now at the sixth position. Drew Miller at second. Jackson Yeager at first. And Cooper McCoy, Cam Matson, Nick DeMonte, and Dylan Fuller will stay exactly where they're at, as well as Carson Burnett. So a couple defensive substitutions, for this CBL Omaha team. And Yame Baldwin will lead things off for the Mud Daubers. The lefty steps up to the plate. He is 0 for 2 with a fly out to right and a grounder to second in his last plate appearances, respectively. As Erbaum loads up that strike zone once again for strike number one.
Yeah, and Erbaum's first pitch strike rate has been incredible so far in this game. He's just came on the mound and done what he's done all season. Absolutely throw gas.
The 0-1 from Erbaum just misses off the plate. It'll be 1-1. Erbaum's worked pretty efficiently out there on the mound. We were talking about the middle inning, how this has been a very fast-paced game. The 1-1 is swung on and missed from Baldwin as Erbaum continues to throw gas. 1-2.
Yeah, but we just heard word that the 5 o'clock game, a couple fields to the right of us, still going on. So they're 3 hours and 3.5 hours in. We're just an hour and a half in. We're just about doing great on the pace of play.
As that ball will be fouled back into the netting, and Yame Baldwin will do the 1-2 once again. As Erbaum, since coming in, has allowed 1 earned run, but he's struck out 3 for the Corn Belt League Omaha team. The 1-2 to Baldwin. That ball will be swung on and missed by Baldwin, and Erbaum gets his 4th K of the ball game. And Erbaum is on cruise control out on the bump.
He is doing it. And doing it to the best of his ability right now. Came in relief, starting the 4th inning, and since coming in, 4 strikeouts for Erbaum. An incredible outing so far.
As Erbaum continues to pitch well, as Wellbrock steps up to the plate, takes the first pitch, breaking ball in there for strike 1. As Erbaum just does not seem to be fazed at all by the heat or really any of the surrounding factors.
Yeah, and the sun is slowly setting behind us, a beautiful pink color in the sky there over left field. And Erbaum just not letting that heat affect him.
As it looks like he's got a bug, possibly. I don't know what that could be. He might have got like stung or something, or I'm not sure what's going on. That's quite interesting. I've never seen an umpire pat down a pitcher before. This isn't airport TSA. We're playing a baseball game. I've never seen that before in my life.
Looked like he was just giving him a pat on the back, just saying, good job pitching out there. But the count's 1-1 for Erbaum.
But after the awkward situation we just watched unfold, I'm glad you guys didn't. The 1-1 will be fouled out of play over to the field directly to our immediate right.
Well, Urbaum wasn't phased by that one. Goes back and throws another strike. Urbaum just, memory like a goldfish, just forgot all about that pat down that he just received from the umpire and went back to the mound and threw a strike.
The 1-2 to Aiden Urbaum. Urbaum pitches in. Wellbrock fouls it off to that field to the immediate right once again, and we'll do the 1-2 back-to-back.
Urbaum throwing strikes is allowing these Mud Daubers hitters to get contact on the ball, but then when he throws that breaking ball at off speed, he catches them way out ahead of the pitch, and it's really what I expect him to go to here.
Urbaum delivers. That ball will be hit. It will be in play for Yeager, but it will sneak out of play. And we'll do the 1-2 for the third straight pitch.
And it looked like that one just landing the bullpen. The bullpens are pretty open right next to the field, but the rule is if that ball is caught in the bullpen by a player maybe who jumps over the fence or something, a very low fence out to the bullpen, it is out of play. Foul balls have to be caught in playing territory, so the bullpen does not count for that.
The 1-2. Swung on and missed. Back-to-back strikeout swinging for Aiden Urbaum. And Wellbrock is one of the victims to fall to Aiden Urbaum's fastball.
Strikeout number 5 on the day for Aiden Urbaum in just 2 2/3 innings of pitching. An incredible outing so far for the man from Dakota State University. He's been doing it all for this pitching staff of the Corn Belt League.
And first pitch to Connor Thompson, the man behind the plate for the Mud Daubers, as that ball is in the dirt for ball 1. Still 96 steamy degrees here in Goddard, Kansas.
A little bit better than the 104, 105 that we started the game at, but not the best. Not the best conditions here.
Tomorrow's supposed to be a high 98, significantly cooler, still hot, as Urbaum loads up that strike zone and he knots the count up at 1 apiece.
Another good recovery pitch there. He's recognized that the umpire favors that inside half of the zone and just fired pitches into that inside half, expecting to go there again.
The 1-1 goes back there but does not get the call. It'll be 2-1.
Yeah, that one just trailed a little bit inside, a little bit of inside to outside movement on that fastball from Urbaum catches him out outside of the plate lines, and it'll be a 2-1 count.
You see Urbaum feeling for some pellets after every pitch. The 2-1. That ball will be grounded on over to Carson Burnett. Takes the hop. It hops right behind him. The hop ate him up once again. That's the second time we've seen that happen as Connor Thompson is on first with an error by Carson Burnett.
Yeah, just really unfortunate there for Burnett. Just does not get a good read of the turf, even though it bounces pretty high, and we've seen that a couple times here. Burnett hits the inside wrist and falls right behind him. Good recovery there from the man who's covering at shortstop, Caden Steenbach, to keep the runner at first.
Cooper Neal up now for the Mud Daubers. The 8-hole hitter today is 0 for 1. And that ball will get by Cooper McCoy, and he doesn't know where it's at, but Thompson rounds second. It looks like he's limping a little bit. Comes up favoring that right leg after rounding second.
Yeah, not the sight you want to see if you're Thompson, one of the faster guys on this Mud Daubers team. But nonetheless, he's in scoring position, and we'll see if he can walk that one off if the ball is put in play.
Like mentioned, Cooper Neal is 0 for 1 with a strikeout and a walk. Strikeout came in the top of the 4th inning. So 1-0 from Urbaum. This is high and away for ball 2.
And that one was that first strikeout of the game for Urbaum. So he's loaded up 4 more since then, and now has a chance to get his 6th of the game against the same batter that he got his first against.
The 2-0 for Neal. Inside, but it'll be ball 3 as Neal has done a really good job of working the pitch count for Urbaum, and he's up 3-0.
Yeah, Urbaum just lost the control a little bit here. You see it again. He's feeling for those pellets behind, trying to rub his hands off on that turf. See if it works to any effect here. He's already fallen behind 3-0 in the count.
3 balls, no strikes. The pitch to Neal. It'll miss outside, and that's a 4-pitch walk for Cooper Neal, and we've got runners on first and second here. Thompson off of second, Neal off of first. Force out at first, second, and third for the Corn Belt League.
You just need one if you're Urbaum. You've given up 2 base runners, one due to an error that probably shouldn't have happened, and the other one due to a walk, and it'll be a quick mound meeting here for head coach Vern Hasty and Aiden Urbaum.
Yeah, like you mentioned, Vern Hasty going out to talk to Aiden Urbaum with Noe Pena stepping up to the plate here. The 9-hole hitter is 0 for 2.
Ground out.
Urbaum's been very good today.
I don't think you pull him here. I think you just kind of have that conversation that, hey, you just need one. Just need to force a ground ball here if you're Urbaum. And Hasty will walk back and let the infielders talk about this one a little bit longer, as there's that one timeout used by head coach Vern Hasty.
And we've got someone warming up in the Corn Belt League bullpen as Vern Hasty is sticking with this guy. It'll be number 13. Brecken Sylvain from Minnesota Morris University was a key contributor in that Red Raiders championship win on Sunday.
Yeah, Sylvain was attributed with the W as Urbaum just pieced up the hitter there, Noe Pena, and bases are loaded.
Yeah, you can tell Aiden Urbaum did not have a great pitch or great grip on that pitch, but yeah, nonetheless, the hit by pitch by Noe Pena. It'll be a bases loaded for top of the order in Miles Hartman, who Miles Hartman is getting his 4th plate appearance of the game, and he is 0 for 2 with a walk in that first at bat. Or excuse me, he is 1 for 2, as Urbaum comes set. Bases loaded. Cannot catch that outside part of the plate. It'll be 1-0.
Yeah, he's the only one to have scored a run off of Urbaum so far, as the count sits 1-0 for Hartman.
This would be a monumental out for Aiden Urbaum, working out of a bases-loaded jam here in the top of the 6th. The 1-0. That ball will catch the outside part of the plate. This time it'll be a 1-1 count to Miles Hartman.
I don't think there's anyone else he'd rather want in a bases-loaded situation than Aiden Urbaum. He did it in the high-pressure situation. Corn Belt League quarterfinal, 2 times. Bases loaded, no outs. Both times he got out of the jam. We'll see if he can do it here.
The 1-1. That ball will be in there for strike 2. As back-to-back strikes for Aiden Urbaum has him in the driver's seat to get out of this bases-loaded jam.
And Aiden Urbaum, a big-time player in those clutch moments. We'll see if he can finish the job here, working against the leadoff man, Hartman, who's had a great day today at the plate.
1 ball, 2 strikes. Bases loaded from Aiden Urbaum to Miles Hartman. That ball will be fouled and hacked out of play. Good job by Miles Hartman staying alive.
There's that off-speed a little bit there from Urbaum. Just turned down the gas a little bit. Still threw a fastball, but it wasn't the gas we're used to from Urbaum. I don't know if that was controlled or if that was just kind of happened in the run of play, but we'll see how he attacks that 1-2 again.
Thompson leads off at 3rd. Neal off of 2nd. Pena off of 1st. The pitch from Urbaum. That ball will be hit into left field. That ball will be a foul ball. And we'll do the 1-2 once again.
Foul ball there from Hartman, but he's seeing the ball a little bit better from Urbaum. He's making good contact, just was a little bit late there on that one, pushing it over to the left field side. If that one's in play, that's getting over the head of the shortstop, so Corn Belt League get away with one there, as they're still down 3-1 in this one.
We'll do the 1-2 with bases loaded and 2 outs once again. That ball will be chopped on over to Carson Burnett at 3rd. He'll get it, and he'll throw on over to 1st in time. Nice stretch by Jackson Yeager, and Aiden Urbaum works out of a bases loaded jam. Score stays right where it's at, 3-1 Mud Daubers, with the Corn Belt League due up in the bottom of the 6th. back to Goddard, Kansas, home of the Summer Ball Showdown here at the beautiful Genesis Health Sports Complex, where your CBL Omaha All-Stars are down 1-3 to the Valley Center Mud Daubers. But due up for your CBL Omaha All-Stars, Yeager, Malone, and Madsen. They will get things started here. But we got a new pitcher on the mound for the Valley Center Mud Daubers. Truett Winiger takes the bump for the Mud Daubers.
And it looks like this is his first outing in Mud Daubers colors. He couldn't find any stats for him from that KCLB season, so we'll see how Winiger does on the mound.
And he'll be facing a very dangerous Jackson Yeager to lead things off here. Yeager, a Black Sox once again with Vern Hasty. We'll see Yeager, who is a righty, and it looks like Vern will double check the substitutions, make sure the umpire gets him down. And
so far, no issues with the substitutions that he has made. You know, rotating guys in and out at a pretty consistent clip. He's trying to get as many guys minutes as possible here. At bats, reps in the first two games that don't matter as much as the single elimination tournament.
The first pitch to Yeager is in the backstop. It'll be a 1-0.
We saw a couple of pitches like that from Winiger in his warm-up. Just looks like he's losing his confidence a little bit up there on the mound and trying to have to regain that against a very strong hitter in Yeager.
This Yeager back-to-back balls in the backstop. So Truett Winiger not able to control that fastball, but it'll be Yeager up 2-0. 2 balls, no strikes to Jackson Yeager. That ball will be hit very well in the left field. That ball will drop for a base hit, a leadoff single for Jackson Yeager. And the Corn Belt League gets a leadoff single here in the bottom of the 6th.
Yeah, that 2-0 count, Yeager's always looking strike, and as soon as that ball's in the strike zone, you know he's making contact with it. One of the best hitters for contact. You see him getting a little talking to over there by the first base coach. There you go, Brian. Hopefully just congratulating him on good work at the plate. Saw those first 2 balls in the dirt. Didn't swing at them. Didn't chase at all. And then as soon as that first pitch is in the strike zone, he took that one opposite field to left field for a single.
We're going to see the McCook Community College product and former Bennington Badger, I might add, Ryan Malone step up to the plate, and he will watch ball 1 in the dirt.
His first at-bat as well. So Yeager and Malone, both substitutes coming in for their first at-bats here in the 6th inning, trying to spark something here for this Corn Belt League offense, down 2 runs.
1-0, that ball, nice back pick by the catcher, Connor Thompson. Stops the ball from going in the backstop, which 100% could have advanced Jackson Yeager. It'll be a 2-0.
Yeah, Yeager not the fastest guy at first, but he's definitely got a little bit of movement there.
You're already seeing the head coach for the Valley Center Mud Daubers go out to talk to his pitcher, Truett Winiger. He has only thrown a total of just under 10 pitches. He has not even hit the 6th pitch mark yet. His 6th pitch is coming up here for the Valley Center Mud Daubers, and his head coach is already going out there to talk to him.
Yeah, it just hasn't been the start you want if you're Truett Winiger. Maybe just dealing with a little bit of nerves here. It's a big-time tournament, and he'll try and get things settled down here as the manager steps back into his dugout and Winiger steps back onto the mound.
It'll be a 2-0 count for Malone once Yeager gets his leadoff. Yeager gets a pretty short leadoff at first. Malone, the righty, gets ready for the 2-0. That ball will be in there, and that ball will drop for a base hit. Ryan Malone, back-to-back singles for the Corn Belt League. We got runners on first and second after the opposite field knock for Ryan Malone.
Yeah, Malone does well there. A good piece of hitting. Another 2-0 count where the ball's in the strike zone and Malone makes contact. Corn Belt League hitters hitting very efficiently in those 2-0 counts, and it's 2-on with nobody out here in the bottom of the 6th inning. The tying run at first, the game-leading run, now steps up in Cam Madsen.
Cam Madsen is 0 for 1, and he had a hit by pitch in his last at-bat. He shows bunt, ball's in the dirt. Good stop by Connor Thompson behind the plate. We'll do 1-0.
That's got to be the 4th or 5th pitch that Winiger has thrown in the dirt. Just really has lost his control up there. He's getting good speed on pitches. You can't knock him for that. He's getting good velocity. Just does not have the control right now to put it in the strike zone.
That was actually a called strike. Nice bunt by Cam Madsen. That gets it down. Runners will advance 90 more feet. So runners in scoring position with Malone and Yeager after the sack bunt by Cam Matson, and up steps the Newman University hometown product, Caben Steenbach.
And no better place to do it than here for Caben Steenbach. He plays just 20 minutes up the road at Newman University. Probably got a good home crowd here traveling and rooting for him from the university. Probably his teammates and his family traveling here for Steenbach. And, well, his first at-bat is against a pitcher who hasn't really found that control yet.
Like you mentioned, Caben Steenbach, who was the leading hitter for the Black Sox this season, as Malone leading off a second and Yeager off a third. The pitch. That ball will be in there for strike one.
Yeah, now slowly settling in is Winiger. After stepping in at the top of this inning, trying to set up things for a closer to come in later.
The 0-1. That ball will be inside and low. It'll be a 1-1 count.
Good patience there from Steenbach. And Caben Steenbach also active on our socials right now. Go and check out his mic'd up that he did during the Corn Belt League practice on Monday.
That ball is in the dirt. It'll be back-to-back balls. It'll be a 2-1 count, and Caben Steenbach's now up.
Good patience again from Steenbach. There's a very tall man is Winiger on the mound. When those pitches are coming with that downward velocity, it's hard not to swing at them. Steenbach does well.
High and inside, little sweet chin music for Caben Steenbach. And he has watched back-to-back balls. He's up 3-1.
Now it's all about control. You're up ahead in a 3-1 count. Don't chase anything. Winiger has struggled to throw pitches in the strike zone, but if it's there, take a hack.
3-1 to Steenbach. Inside for ball 4, a 5-pitch walk for Steenbach. Bases are juiced for the Corn Belt League, and the birthday boy himself just turned 21, can legally drink. Nick DeMonte.
No better moment on your 21st birthday. Nick DeMonte, bases loaded. You're down to one out on the sacrifice bunt for the Corn Belt League. Come on, Nick DeMonte. Give us all a birthday present. Why don't you?
Your family's watching Nick DeMonte. First pitch to DeMonte. And he ropes that one into center field. That ball will get by. Great diving stop by the shortstop, but it'll not be in time after the infield single from Nick DeMonte brings home a run. And it'll be a one-run ball game here. Nice stop, however, by Miles Hartman in the 6 gap. Diving stop to his right. And that saved what could have been another run for the Corn Belt League Omaha All-Stars.
Yeah, and you had Malone there from second over to third. Yeager comes in to score on the hit from DeMonte, but you're right there. Hartman just stopped an absolute, could have been an extra 2 runs there for the Corn Belt League, but the bases are still juiced now for Braden Jackson.
The birthday boy gets his RBI, and he cuts the gap to 1 here for Drew Miller. The haymaker has the opportunity to break this game open for the Corn Belt League. Watches strike 1 inside. It'll be an 0-1 count.
It is a defensive substitution there. Miller in for Jackson. My apologies there on that one.
Malone off a third. The pitch will be in the dirt. Good stop by Connor Thompson, who just continues to put in the work back there. It'll be 1-1.
Yeah, Connor Thompson, the unsung hero right now. True Winiger's pitching appearance has not been the start that Winiger has wanted. He's been losing control left, right, and center. Already thrown 5 wild pitches, all of them hitting the backstop. Just needs to find that control, especially against a dangerous hitter like Miller.
The 1-1 to Miller. That ball will be grounded up the middle, a double play ball in order. He'll step on second, and he'll take it all over to first. That'll be an unassisted double play. That'll be a 6-3. And Miles Hartman saves a run once again for the Mud Daubers, but not after Nick DeMonte brings home 1 for the CBL Omaha. It's 3-2 going to the top of the 7th. Corn Belt League gets one in the bottom of the sixth after a Nicky DeMonte infield single, but new pitcher out there for the boys in gray. It'll be Brecken Sylvain, the young man from Minnesota Morris University.
Yeah, and Brecken Sylvain, one of the best relievers on the Red Raiders team that ended up winning the championship. He got the win in the championship game, was credited for his 2 innings pitch in which the Red Raiders were able to come back, spark a comeback victory with a walk-off, capped off by Chris Calhoun, who we saw earlier in the game. But overall in the season, 27 and 1/3 innings pitch, 13 appearances, 12 in relief, 1 start, got credited with 1 win on the season as well, a 2.96 ERA. He was absolutely distraught. There was a play there in the 7th inning of the championship game. He was about to get that win. Ball got lost in left field by the left fielder, Blair Spees, as well as the shortstop, Ty Beasley. And Matthew Rivers came around and scored, and that was his only earned run given up in the championship game. Talking to him after the game, he was very, very upset that he didn't get the shutout in his relief appearance in the championship. But nonetheless, the Red Raiders did win the championship. So winning mentality, Brecken Sylvain brings, and a very, very good relief pitcher.
We also have a new catcher out there for the Corn Belt League. Anthony Nino will be the battery. It'll be battery of Nino and Sylvain here in the top of the 7th inning, as we got the 2-hole hitter Cole Schieffer up to the plate, and he will take the first pitch he sees and skies that one into the August night sky, and Nick DeMonte will camp underneath that one for out number 1.
Yeah, good work there from DeMonte. Didn't lose track of that one as soon as off the bat. Playing in different lights and lights that he's not used to, but doesn't lose track of the ball, and great work there from DeMonte.
And Jeffrey Vargas steps up to the plate. He is 1 for 2, or 1 for 3, actually, in this ball game. Vargas, the intimidating right-handed hitter, gets ready for the first pitch. It'll be a breaking ball outside for ball number 1.
Yeah, Vargas has done well today. Scored a run, that second run in the top of the first for the Mud Daubers that got them out to that early 2-0 lead.
The 1-0 from Sylvain. The nice breaking ball once again. This time it connects for strike number 1.
Yeah, good work from Sylvain. Goes behind the count, comes back, and gets it right back even. That's always what you want to see out of a pitcher. You don't want to fall behind 2-0.
The 1-1, Sylvain with the windup. He zips one in there for strike number 2, blows it right by Vargas.
Yeah, and Vargas just did not know what to do with that pitch. Fastball in the inner corner of the plate. He swung right over it. Good downward movement on that pitch from Sylvain.
Vargas awaits the 1-2. He will swing and miss. Oh, just foul tip it, excuse me. Looked like for a moment there that he swung and missed, but it'll be a foul tip as Vargas stays alive.
Yeah, Vargas just really reaching at that one. That one, a huge breaking ball that hit the dirt, and Vargas just got barely lucky to touch it with the end of his bat and stay alive.
We'll do the 1-2 once again. The windup from Sylvain. It'll miss outside for ball 2.
Just need one to put him away here, and Vargas, and he'll bring up Brennan Gaskin in the on-deck circle, the cleanup hitter who scored the first 2 runs. He has 2 RBIs on the day for the Mud Daubers.
The 2-2. High and inside, a little sweet chin music. We've got a full count.
And after going up in the count 1-2, Sylvain has thrown 2 straight balls to make it 3-2. We'll see if he can work it back here, the University of Minnesota Morris player.
The 3-2, 1-out pitch. It'll be in there for strike 3. The backwards K from Brecken Sylvain. And that is a huge second out here in the top of the 7th.
Yeah, great work from Sylvain. Fell behind, got ahead in the count, and then fell behind to a full count, and then finally got that strikeout looking on what I believe was the 6th pitch of the at-bat.
That was a huge strikeout. Like you said, yes, it was the 6th pitch of the at-bat. But Gaskin steps up to the plate. Gaskin is 1 for 3 in today's ball game with his 4th plate appearance, and he will take ball 1 outside. Sylvain comes set with the windup. Delivers home. Outside for ball 2, back-to-back balls.
Now he's falling behind, and I'm interested to see how Sylvain works in this count now. You haven't seen it yet from him here in Wichita. Down 2-0 in a count. Got to throw strikes here if you're Sylvain, but you don't want him to hit it.
2-0. That ball will be low for ball 3, as now Gaskin has worked himself into a 3-0 advantage.
Yeah, you got to think red light here for Gaskin. You already have a lead. 3-2, nobody on base, so there's no real reason to be swinging here. Just got to throw a strike if you're Sylvain.
3 balls, no strikes, 3-0 from Brecken Sylvain. That ball will be swung on and missed as Gaskin had the green light on the 3-0.
He swung out of his shoes there. That follow-through caught him stepping out of the batter's box, and for Sylvain, that's got to be a big confidence booster as you now sit with a 3-1 count.
3-1. Brecken looks to deliver one of his best pitches so far this evening. Looked really good. That ball did not miss much outside. That'll be a 5-pitch walk for Gaskin.
Not the worst thing in the world, walking Gaskin, one of the most dangerous hitters as you bring up a guy who's 0 for 2 on the day in Jaime Baldwin. And you gotta force out at second as well with 2 outs, so you just got to make a play here if you're the Corn Belt League.
Jaime Baldwin steps up to the plate, has not gotten on base so far today. Gaskin leads off of first. Brecken comes home with it. Good stop by Anthony Nino behind the plate, who is probably one of the best throw-out catchers in the Corn Belt League. And we saw this last season.
Yeah, he almost put out 3 in the semifinal. Got 1 credited to him. The other 2, just the tags were applied too slowly.
1-0. Brecken Sylvain blows one right by Jaime Baldwin. It'll be a 1-1.
And
they're going to say a catcher's interference, however, as Anthony Nino got his glove out there, and now it'll be runners in first and second for Garrett Wellbrock.
Wellbrock has struggled this season in the summer, was only, I believe, what was it, 1 for 25 in the summer, but does have a hit today already.
You don't ever rarely see catcher's interference. We saw one in the championship game on Sunday. That right there came off the glove of Anthony Nino. But nonetheless, Brecken Sylvain now works with a little trouble on the base paths in the first pitch. That ball will be hit out of play to the field to our immediate right. It'll be an 0-1.
There have been an abnormal amount of balls that we've launched over there to field number 1 on the right. It's kind of interesting. We haven't had one hit onto our field just yet. Field 5 here at the Genesis Sports Complex.
I would agree with you, Arnav, as Brecken Sylvain comes set with the 0-1. Gets the strike 2 call inside, a big-time pitch from Brecken Sylvain, and he's got himself an 0-2.
Yeah, Sylvain has worked really well here as once he gets ahead of hitters, staying ahead of hitters, not letting them work back in the counts.
From the stretch, Brecken Sylvain comes set, looks back at second base, strides home. The breaking ball misses really high. It'll be 1-2.
Gotta wonder if that's that sweat, that fatigue. Sylvain not wiping his hands off like we've seen all the other Corn Belt League pitchers do, using either the turf or their pants. Sylvain just gets set and is ready to go. No time wasted here for the University of Minnesota Morris man.
Gaskin leads off a second. Baldwin off of first. Comes home. That ball will be a little too far inside. It'll be a 2-2 count.
2-2 with 2 away. You just got to get one in play here into the infield if you're Sylvain. Trust your defense to do the work. You don't got to throw the best pitch.
The 2-ball, 2-strike, 2-out pitch with runners on first and second. A lot of 2s in this situation for Brecken Sylvain. The pitch. That ball will be skied into right field. Ryan Malone has a beat on it. He'll camp underneath that one for out number 3. Brecken Sylvain gets out of the runners on first and second. And we're going to be stretching here as we go to the bottom of the 7th. Well, we just got done with the 7th inning stretch. We got done stretching up here in the press box, but the Still going on here at the Genesis Health and Sports Complex with the top of the order due up for the Corn Belt League All-Stars. Christopher Calhoun, Carson Burnett, and Anthony Nino. And Truett Winiger is back out there for his second inning of relief as he narrowly got out of that inning. Got by the hair on his chinny chin chin.
He did. And, well, if you're used to the Corn Belt League and you're watching us here on the Corn Belt League Network, normally we go 7 and we're done. However, here at the Summer Ball Showdown in Wichita, it's 9-inning games. We're getting full amounts of baseball here at the Genesis Sports Complex, so it's not do or die here for the Corn Belt League just yet, although you would like to take a lead here in the bottom of the 7th.
You get the price of admission for these games here at the Genesis Health and Sports Complex. You're not only paying for the game, but you're playing for the beautiful complex. Nonetheless, Christopher Calhoun, who is 0 for 2 with a walk, steps up to the plate.
Calhoun's got speed, just needs to put a bat to ball here.
Ball 1 misses high and inside.
It's interesting to see Winiger out there again. He just really struggled, had bases loaded, like you said, just barely escaped that bottom of the 6th.
1-0 is in there for strike 1. A beautiful inside fastball from Truett Winiger knocks the count up at 1.
Maybe he's slowly found his confidence, has Winiger, but I'll see it when I believe it. I'll believe it when I see it, here at the Genesis.
Well, you might be seeing it after strike 2 gets the outside part of the plate. It'll be a 1-2 count.
Might be the first time he's gotten ahead in a count here early on in Wichita.
1-2. That ball is outside. 2 balls, 2 strikes. Good eye right there by Christopher Calhoun.
Yeah, he wanted that one. He checked that swing really late there. Almost went fully across, but good arm strength to hold it back.
2-2. Outside for ball 3. Back-to-back balls miss outside. We've got ourselves a full count.
And there it is again from Winiger, just missing those balls outside. He hasn't hit the dirt just yet. He had 5 wild pitches in the last inning.
6 ball of the AB. That ball will be fouled off the catcher's chest plate. And we'll do the full count once again.
Good work from Calhoun, the DH today for the Corn Belt League. He's the leadoff man, has speed. He can do the hitting for contact. He's really just an all-around ball player. Struggled today a little bit, 0 for 2, but he has scored a run for the Corn Belt League. See what he can do here in the bottom of the 7th.
Scored 1 of the 2 runs for the Corn Belt League in that bottom of the 1st. That ball will be fouled back once again.
Good fight here from Calhoun to keep the at-bat alive. He's seeing the ball really well here out of Winiger's hand. Winiger's velocity has dropped a considerable amount from how he was throwing in that first half inning that he pitched.
From the stretch, that ball will be inside, and Christopher Calhoun, the ever-so-dangerous Christopher Calhoun, leads the inning off with a walk.
Yeah, and Winiger, I wonder if that was a conversation that Winiger had, is maybe take a little bit of the velocity off, try and regain that control. He did well against Calhoun, got ahead of Calhoun, but Calhoun just had a good eye, watched a few pitches on the outside, and eventually Winiger just lost control of one, trying to gas one in there. He got the velocity, didn't get the placement. Looks like that's a trade-off here for Winiger as Calhoun's on first.
Next up, the 2-hole hitter, Carson Burnett, who's 2 for 2, and has reached base every time he's got up to the plate. First time he was up, he drew a walk, so the on-base percentage has been high for Carson Burnett. Christopher Calhoun is off on the first pitch. That ball is a little bit off. That ball is going to be in the outfield, but Christopher Calhoun was not able to get up in time, and he'll stay right there at second base.
Calhoun was kind of sitting there on the bag. I don't think he realized that the second baseman missed it in Wellbrock, and it was just kind of lying dead in right center field. Calhoun definitely could have swiped third there if he got up and checked, but he'll take a runner in scoring position either way for Burnett, a dangerous hitter. Both of his hits that he's had have gone into left field. See if he can replicate that here.
You'd have to think with Christopher Calhoun's speed, a base hit could score. Carson Burnett shows bunt. Gets it down. That ball is a great bunt. That ball will be over to third. Decides not to throw it. That ball will be out of play. Christopher Calhoun can come home. He will come home. Carson Burnett's going to stay at first. Tie ball game after the Corn Belt League All-Stars get a squeeze bunt down and the error by the Valley Center Mud Daubers. And we've got a tie ball game here on field number 5.
And wow, how unfortunate is that for Winiger? You do a good job of checking the runner at third, and you realize that Chris Calhoun is well on his way to third. You're not going to get the out there. You're not going to get that tag applied. So you turn around, you whip it to first. A speedy Burnett's almost there, and you totally overthrow it. You blow it there, you're Winiger, and just like that, nobody out here in the bottom of the 7th inning. Carson Burnett's on. You got the heart of the order, 3, 4, 5 coming up in Nino, Yeager, and Malone, all very good hitters. With the speedy Burnett at first, this could be danger here for the Corn Belt League if you keep Winiger out.
Well, Winiger comes out of the ball game. We've got a new pitcher. We'll step aside. Will we get you this new pitcher? We'll be right back right here on the CBLN. After the Corn Belt League was able to tie it off of a squeeze bunt by Carson Burnett, that forces the cards for the Valley Center Mud Daubers, and they brought in a new pitcher, and it's going to be number 11, Eddie Valentine, towing the rubber for the Mud Daubers.
Yeah, and Valentine on the season has only pitched 2/3 of an inning, gave up 4 earned runs, an ERA that sits at 27, which is tough for a guy like him. I mean, he came in, I believe it was injuries that kept him out most of the summer, made his first appearance very late on for the Mud Daubers, has no strikeouts and allowed 4 walks, but once again, those numbers, I mean, you only pitched 1 game, so you got to feel bad for Valentine here, as hopefully he's recovered from that injury fully and is being used here in relief.
As Anthony Nino, the catcher, the third catcher you see today in the ball game, takes ball 1 high. It'll be a 1-0. Vern Hasty has worked his team back to a tie ball game here in the bottom of the 7th. Burnett inches off of first. Nino with the 1-0. That ball will catch inside. Nice pitch by Eddie Valentine. It'll knock the count up at 1 apiece.
And a reminder here, the wins are important. The run difference, even more important, because if you get 2 wins, but your run difference is only 2, you'll be towards the lower half of those top-tier teams. You want to have a good win, but you want to win big as well.
100%. Ball 2, it'll be a 2-1 count here for Anthony Nino, who is another filth baller. A lot of filth ballers. You may be seeing a common occurrence here on this team. The 2-1, that ball will be swung on and missed. It'll be a 2-2 count.
However, not as many filth ballers as we had last year. I believe the final count last year, 11 filth ballers from that championship-winning team, a team that went 23-7, so no surprise that there were that many filth ballers on that team coached by Johnson Hobbs. This year, it's a much more balanced team between all 8 teams in the league.
That ball will be grounded on over to short. It will not be enough for a double play. Anthony Nino flying down the bases, but good job over there at second by Miles Hartman. At short by Miles Hartman. It'll be a throw out. It'll be out number 1 for the Mud Daubers.
Yeah, but Nino does a good job. You don't get on base, but you do advance the runner in that hit-and-run scenario. You saw Burnett was already moving before Nino even made contact. And Nino's done that all season. He's coming into the Corn Belt League playoffs. He was batting 190, but he was still batting in that 5 slot because he led the team in RBIs with 12.
As Yeager gets ball 1 up and in at the jaw.
Yeah, just tough there from Yeager, but he moves out of the way well in order to stay alive.
Yeager went 1 for 1 in his last at-bat, and he watches ball 2 inside. Saw the first pitch he saw in his last at-bat and took it into center field. Or I guess left center-ish field. Well, he's got a 2-0. He's up here early with Carson Burnett leading off a second. That ball will be roped down the left field line. That ball will be well out of play, however. Be a 2-1.
Yeah, Yeager saw that one well, Yeager did, but he'll just need to put that one in play. And I think a ball of the outfield here that's in play will score Burnett.
The 2-1. Yeager takes that one into left center field. That ball is going back, going back, going back. That ball will drop for a base hit. Yeager rounds first, heading to second. Carson Burnett's going to be waved home, and that'll be enough to do it and give the Corn Belt League All-Stars the lead here in the bottom of the 7th.
A huge hit by Yeager. He got all of that one, sent that one all the way back to the warning track in left center field. Vargas closing down on it, Neal closing down on it, neither of them getting there in time, and it's a 1-run lead for the Corn Belt League.
Yeager's 2 for 2 after being checked into this ball game. Ryan Malone has the opportunity to do the same thing. Yeager leads off a second after the RBI double, and Malone will take the first pitch he sees and skies that one to the field to our immediate right.
Yeah, well off the base pads there for Malone. It's not an immediate danger, thankfully, but Malone's seeing the ball extremely well as well.
The 0-1 to Malone. That ball will be swung on and missed. Good sweeping action right there on that cutter from Eddie Valentine. It'll be 0-2.
Malone now behind. Just got to protect the plate here if you're Ryan Malone from McCook.
As the 0-2 is missed inside, it'll be 1-2. 4-3 Corn Belt League up after a 2-run bottom of the 7th so far, but they're not done quite yet. 1 out, 1 ball, 2 strikes ready for Ryan Malone. That ball will be swung on and missed. Beautiful fastball from Eddie Valentine. Blows it by Ryan Malone for out number 2.
Yeah, just a really bad swing there from Malone. He kind of half-checked it, saw it was a little bit on the outside corner, and just missed the end of his bat. He couldn't stay alive with a foul ball there. And I'll bring up Cam Madsen.
Cam Madsen, who was the hit leader in the Corn Belt League, he is 0 for 1 in this ball game. And he watches ball 1 outside. Good stop once again by the man behind the dish today, Connor Thompson.
He's been exceptional tonight. He's been one of the best players for the Mud Daubers, just saving wild pitches left and right with that body, moving around, very agile behind the dish for the Mud Daubers.
The 1-0, that ball will be in there. Beautiful fastball once again, as Eddie Valentine's able to locate.
Yeah, Eddie Valentine is definitely the reliever you probably wanted in first instead of Truett Winiger. He's locating a lot better than Winiger is.
Ball 2's outside. It'll be 2-1.
And of course, right as I say that, he throws one outside of the strike zone. But still, a very good outing here so far from Valentine. Has been doing the work on the mound.
2 balls, 1 strike here for Cam Madsen, the Omaha Bomber, who was a hit machine this last year. That ball will be inside at the chin for 3-1.
And you talk about quality at-bats like we talked about earlier in the broadcast. Cam Madsen, second in the Corn Belt League, tied for first, actually, with Dylan Brisbois. But Dylan Brisbois gets the nod just because he had fewer at-bats. 56 quality at-bats in a 30-game season. Incredible from Madsen.
The 3-1. That ball will be inside, almost nicks him on the shoulder once again, but that'll be a 5-pitch walk for Camden Madsen. And up steps Caben Steenbach.
And Steenbach is a very, very intimidating man to look at. When you're Valentine, you got 2 on, 2 out. Steenbach poke one into play in the outfield, and you got to think Yeager at second scores.
Steenbach was the hit leader for the Omaha Black Sox this year. The .455 batting average and just a little bit over 50 plate appearances. 2 outs. Yeager off of second, Madsen off of first. Valentine comes set. That ball will be low for ball 1.
Good look there from Steenbach to watch that one go by him. He's been very, very patient at the plate, and throughout all these defensive substitutions, everyone's been getting good reps at the plate. No one really has had a poor performance. Even if they strike out, it's good pitches, and they're working the count pretty high, getting those pitchers tired for the Mud Daubers.
Steenbach's a little bit behind on the fastball. It'll be a 1-1 count. Valentine comes set from the stretch. The delivery. That ball will be swung on and missed by Steenbach, who couldn't resist the outside fastball.
Yeah, he chased that one, and he knows it'll step back out, Steenbach does, and reassess the situation. Now down to the last strike in the bottom of the 7th.
1 ball, 2 strikes. This would be a big strikeout to keep it within reach for Valentine, and he gets the strikeout as Caben Steenbach's now able to catch up to the high heat, but not before the Corn Belt League All-Stars get 2 runs on a couple hits here in the bottom of the 7th. And they go to the top of the 8th, and they look to keep the damage right where it's at. welcome back to the Genesis Health Sports Complex. Top of the 8th. I'm Ethan McCormick. I almost said Arnav Pokhrel. You're Arnav.
I'm
Ethan.
That's Ethan.
We're bringing you the action right here on the Corn Belt League Network. And Brecken Sylvain goes out there for his second inning of work, and he will start him off with the ball one high.
Yeah, a great outing from Urbom. Sylvain comes into the 7th to relief. You're hoping he can set you up here nicely, keep that 3-4 lead intact for the Corn Belt League before you bring in that closer. Whoever it may be, tons of pitching depth on this roster, and I think Coach Vern Hasty has worked it really well today in terms of roster management. You got a game tomorrow and then a game on Friday as well. So really good job from Hasty to get all those pitchers rotated in and out, keep arms fresh for tomorrow, but keep them throwing in this heat, get it used to the heat as well.
As Brecken Sylvain is down 3-0 to Connor Thompson. Connor Thompson is 1 for 3 with a single in his last at-bat. The 3-0. That ball will catch the inside part of the plate. Nice pitch from Brecken to keep the at-bat alive. It'll be a 3-1 count.
Yeah, really good job there from Sylvain. A pitch that he knows the umpire favors is on that inside half of the plate. Locates it really well on that inside low corner.
The 3-1. That ball will be grounded on over. Burnett gets the hot corner, throws it on over in time. Carson Burnett mans the hot corner, comparable to Nolan Arenado, route number 1.
A man that we're both familiar with watching, both of us St. Louis Cardinals fans, so I love the reference there from you, Ethan. Burnett, great reaction time. That ball was one hop flying into left field, takes 3 steps to his left, gets there in time, flashes the leather a little bit as he snags that one out of midair, and a good strong throw over to first for the first out of the half inning.
As Nick DeMonte has to tell someone to turn off their gosh hootin' car alarm. I mean, we're trying to play a baseball game here.
Nick DeMonte, he'll get his wish as the car lights eventually turn off, and DeMonte returns to his spot there in center field.
Brecken Sylvain comes set and delivers. Curveball misses high. Back-to-back times he started with the curveball that's missed high.
Really good work from Sylvain so far after coming in relief of Urbom, who came in relief of Simpson, who started the game.
The 1-0. That curveball catches the zone for strike number 1 to Cooper Neal, who has played a very solid left field today for the Mud Daubers.
Yeah, Neal's number has been called in action many, many times in left field. A lot of these Corn Belt League hitters that are righties are pulling that ball to left, and he's been extremely sound there.
As that fastball, as Neal had to do a little ducking to get out of that one, but it'll be a 2-1, and Sylvain is still where he needs to be.
Yeah, Sylvain's very comfortable in these low count at-bats. He's worked well. He uses the strike zone really well, tries to get those runners to chase.
The 2-1 from Sylvain to Neal. Neal skies that one into his co-counterpart left field, but Madsen will camp underneath that one for out number 2.
Neal caught all of that one immediately as that one was hit. I thought, is that one going all the way out? I mean, sky and high, and looked like it had the pace to get out, but it just dies in this hot air, and Madsen, in left, does a great job of just tracking it all the way into his glove.
100% agree as Brecken is continuing to go out there as Noe Pena. It'll be a pitch hitter. It'll be Tanner Hedrick, who in 86 plate appearances has a 308 average with a 400 on-base percentage. This will be his first at-bat of the ball game with 2 outs in the top of the 8th, and he'll watch strike 1 from Brecken Sylvain.
Good pitch there. First pitch from Sylvain, really establishing the tone here as he works against a new hitter in Hedrick.
Hedrick has 2 home runs and 12 RBIs, a very dangerous, potent hitter up at the plate. And Sylvain, beautiful looking ball, but it was not in there for a strike.
Yeah, it just has a little bit too much of that inside to outside movement there from Sylvain. A really good looking pitch there, and you hope the batter swings, but he doesn't there. Good plate discipline there from Hedrick.
As Brecken Sylvain paints the outside corner, call him Picasso for strike number 2.
Chance to put them away quickly here, the Mud Daubers, for Sylvain for the Corn Belt League.
The 1-2 to Hedrick. As Sylvain just lost a little bit on that ball, maybe the grip, his hands might be kind of sweaty, it'll be 2-2.
I would say he lost a little bit more than that. The ball, for those of you at home who are not seeing, just absolutely went flying over the head of Hedrick there. No control whatsoever there from Sylvain, but he'll rear back and throw the 2-2.
2 balls, 2 strikes, 2 outs. To Tanner Hedrick. That ball will be fouled out to the field to our immediate right.
And it lands in play, and it looks like they'll stop the play. I'm still very, very concerned about how there have been no foul balls hit our way, and we've hit about 20 their way. The karma's going to come back for us tomorrow, I'm sure of it.
100%, I agree. The 2-ball, 2-strike pitch. That ball will be skied high. It's in play for Yeager. Yeager is able to get to it, not able to, as that was a tough running play, as 3 all-stars were running in on that one. Yeager, Brecken, and Nino, but none of them able to get there, and we'll do the 2-ball, 2-strike again.
Yeah, I think Yeager had the best jump on that one, but it still just landed just outside the outstretched glove. A bad jump there from Nino. That probably should have been his ball from the catcher's spot, but he just couldn't get up fast enough. You got to think a man like Cooper McCoy gets up a little bit quicker. He's a little bit more apt defensively catching those foul balls, but obviously rotating catches has always been the plan, so you keep Nino in there now. And you got another chance here at the 2-2 to put him away.
Brecken gets ready to deliver the 2-ball, 2-strike pitch. Fouled back once again. Tanner Hedrick is doing a stellar job staying alive.
Yeah, just really battling here, Hedrick. He knows he's coming in a very, very tough situation. You're down 1 run. You need a run here in the 8th to try and tie things up, and you get your number called, and you just have to go up cold against a pitcher who's been dealing really well in Sylvain.
2 balls, 2 strikes. We'll do it for the 4th straight time right here in the top of the 8th. As that one will be grounded over to Cabin. Cabin gets it on the hop, throws on the run. In time for out number 3. A beautiful 3 up, 3 down for the Corn Belt League in the top of the 8th. They go down to the bottom of the 8th, looking to add some insurance right here on the Corn Belt League Network. From Goddard, Kansas, as we got a new pitcher here for the Valley Center Mud Daubers. A little bit of a tongue twister here as they're down to their final 3 outs to get something cooking here, but they're going to rely on Colt Minahan, number 26, who comes into this one with 9 2/3, 7 earned runs, 6.52 ERA, 10 strikeouts, 12 walks, a little bit higher walk to strikeout ratio than I think he desires for, but he's tasked with slowing down this Corn Belt League lineup, who since the 5th inning has been cooking with nothing but propane gas.
Yeah, it's been a really good stretch here for the Corn Belt League. Just seeing the ball really well. Their 3rd, 4th time through the lineup. No matter whoever the new pitcher is, they're getting contact, getting hits, getting bats to balls, putting them in play. Really efficient hitting performance here from the Corn Belt League.
Nick DeMonte lead things off here for the Corn Belt League All-Stars. It'll be DeMonte, Miller, and then back to the top with Mr. Christopher Calhoun. And DeMonte will be the first to see the new pitcher, and he throws ball 1 high.
Yeah, DeMonte, like we said, very good plate discipline from him as he'll step in for the 1-0.
Minahan, the righty, comes set with the 1-0. Nick DeMonte will swing and miss at strike number 1. It'll be a 1-1 count.
We'll see how DeMonte does here with the 1-1. Last time up, he had that hit to the shortstop, a diving stop there from Hartman to hold him to only 1 RBI as he sets in for the 1-1.
DeMonte settles in. The 1-1 pitch from Minahan. In the dirt. That hit about 6 feet in front of the dirt, but it'll be ball number 2.
Yeah, pitching depth has really been an issue for the Mud Daubers. They started off extremely well at Garrett Fager, but since then it's kind of fallen off. Winiger really struggled. Valentin came in and did well, but then We'll see how Minahan can do now.
2 balls, 1 strike. Nick DeMonte stays settled in at the plate. That ball will be well over his head. DeMonte was one of the guys that brought in an RBI in that bottom of the 6th. He was actually the only guy that brought in a run in that bottom of the 6th.
Yeah, but it was a crucial run. Really inspired some life in this Corn Belt League as they went to the bottom of the 7th and tacked on 2 more to take this lead.
3 balls, 1 strike to DeMonte. He watches that ball hit him. That'll be a hit by pitch for Nick DeMonte, and that leads off the Corn Belt League in the bottom of the 8th.
Oh, man. I mean, Minahan, how are you going to hit a guy on his birthday? But
man, that's cruel.
Nick DeMonte will head over to first anyways.
You owe him a beverage now. He owes him a beverage. That's got to be a beverage. Right?
I think that has to be a beverage for Nick DeMonte.
And we're talking about water. Or pop.
Very much so.
Yeah, we don't.
Very much
we don't condone those things. We don't. Yep.
It'll bring up Drew Miller here for the Corn Belt League with the man on first.
Drew Miller was mere inches away from tacking on about 2 more runs. Let's see if he can kind of revenge that last at bat, and he'll watch ball 1 low. Nick DeMonte is a threat to steal at first base. You got to think that Vern and Larry O'Brien, or we like to call him OB, will be sure to send him here in the next couple pitches.
I feel like for head coach Vern Hasty, it's always a 3-1 count or an 0-1 count where he sends his guys.
On command, Nick DeMonte was off and running in a hit-and-run situation, but that ball will be fouled down the third base line, and it'll be 1-1.
So when the count gets to 3-1, expect DeMonte to be jetting down that base path.
Little hit-and-run. We kind of saw this firsthand at practice on Monday, them kind of practicing those hit-and-run situations. Fumbling over my words here. I'm looking at this Chick-fil-A chicken sandwich. The 1-1 to Miller. DeMonte leads off at first. He's off again. Miller does not swing. DeMonte will be in there with the stolen base. Great jump by Nick DeMonte. Puts the Corn Belt League with runners in scoring position and no outs.
Aggressive running on the base pads for Nick DeMonte, but you love to see it. You love to see it for the Corn Belt League. The game plan was always to be aggressive. You don't know how good these catchers are, how good their pop times are, how good their arms are. You test them, and then you go off of that. And so far, looks like Connor Tons has not stood the test for these Corn Belt League base runners.
2 balls, 1 strike to Drew Miller. Colt Minahan delivers the 2-1. Miller swings and misses as Minahan pumps the gas right by him. It'll be a 2-2 count.
Yeah, good recovery pitch there from Minahan. You give up a runner in scoring position with the stolen base. After the off-speed pitch, you come back, you throw a fastball that blows right by Miller.
2 balls, 2 strikes, no outs. Nick DeMonte leads off of second. Drew Miller looks to do some damage. We'll watch strike 3. That's a backwards K for Colt Minahan, and he catches Drew Miller as his first victim.
And it'll bring up the top of the order in Calhoun, Burnett, and Nino. 3 really good contact hitters for the Corn Belt League as Miller will take a slow walk back to the dugout. You know he's not happy with that performance. Head coach Vern Hasty going over, having a conversation with him. And stepping in is Calhoun.
Could see another squeeze situation here. DeMonte continues to inch off. Calhoun showed bunt, pulls back, balls into the dirt for ball 1.
Yeah, that ball was well in the dirt. I think it just lost control of that, did Minahan. Probably dealing with a little bit of sweat there, as well as just the humidity and the heat kind of playing a factor. He threw that one well, like 6 feet in front of home plate.
Shows bunt. Middle infield comes in. Instead, he decides to pull the trigger. That ball gets over their head. That ball could have been doing some damage.
Oh, very much so, especially with those middle infielders coming in, something you don't really see. But with DeMonte on second, the third baseman's got to stay at third. And now it's a 1-1 count.
Calhoun. Be interesting to see if he shows bunt right here on the 1-1. DeMonte leads off of second. Calhoun does not. That ball is once again well in the dirt. DeMonte gets caught sleeping on the base pads. That's exactly what Nick DeMonte was afraid of. Gets back picked over at second base. That's a huge out number 2 for the Mud Daubers.
Yeah, just terrible base running there from DeMonte. You hate to see it from him. Just caught sleeping a little bit, and the throw down from the catcher over to second. So he was just trying to trot back and take his time, but good awareness there from the second baseman, Welbrock, to get in there and provide an option for his catcher to make that throw over to second.
As Calhoun will rope that one into center field. The diving catch knocks it down, and Christopher Calhoun will get on base. Great effort by Welbrock. You just mentioned his name. Made a beautiful effort out at second base, but that'll be an infield single for Chris Calhoun.
Yeah, just couldn't squeeze the ball with his glove there well, Brock, but you can't knock the effort on the guy. I mean, he got a great jump on the ball, made a great looking dive, just couldn't squeeze that ball just too far off the tip of his glove.
And the ever so dangerous Carson Burnett, who has reached safely in all 4 plate appearances so far today. The young man from Ohlone College looks to continue things rolling here in the bottom of the 8th. And we've got ourselves another pickle situation. Chris Calhoun is going to get run down, and he's going to get tagged out after 2 errant base running mistakes by the Corn Belt League. Gets the Mud Daubers into the top of the 9th. They have 3 chances left to tie or take the lead right here on the Corn Belt League Network. They haven't thrown down yet. Welcome back to the top of the 9th right here on the Corn Belt League Network. And Brecken Sylvain, who is on for his 3rd inning of relief and to close this game. This would be a 9-out save for Brecken Sylvain.
Yeah, and he's got a chance to do some major damage here with top of the order due up for the Mud Daubers and Hartman, Schaefer, and Vargas. So we'll see how he fares against the top of the lineup.
And Hartman will take that first pitch he sees and skies it over the press box. Hartman is 1 for 3 with a walk in his first at-bat, and he had a double down the left field line in his 3rd at-bat, which came in the top of the 5th. Brecken's up 0-1 to Miles Hartman. Just misses outside for 1-1.
Yeah, and not the best framer out of the 3 catchers, I believe. If we were ranking them in order to be McCoy, then Bolifer, and then Nino, but still a very good defensive catcher when it comes to throwing out.
1 ball, 1 strike to Miles Hartman. Ball miss high for 2-1. You're just now tuning in. You have missed a great game. I'm Ethan McCormick, joined alongside Arnav Pokhrel, and the Corn Belt League got the lead in the bottom of the 7th after Jackson Yeager was able to get things started. And that ball will be absolutely laced up the middle for a base hit, and Miles Hartman gets things rolling for the Mud Daubers here in the top of the 9th. Things are not over. Things are just getting started here at field number 5.
Yeah, and Hartman represents that tying run, so Sylvain can't take any chances here. Do have action in the Corn Belt League bullpen. Don't know who it is yet. Bullpen's way down there on the left field side, but next up is Schaefer for the Mud Daubers.
Schaefer is 2 for 4. Hartman is a threat to steal, has 26 stolen bases on the season. That ball will be fouled right back into the netting. We'll do an 0-1.
0-1 count with 1 on. Expect Hartman to go here soon if he gets a good jump.
We got Nick Merzek warming up in the Corn Belt League bullpen, and Brecken Sylvain almost got Miles Hartman teetering on first.
Yeah, Mersick was the ace for the Rail Riders during that 2023 Corn Belt League season. He was the go-to guy. He pitched in the quarterfinal in which the Rail Riders lost to eventual finalists, the Filth Ballers.
As ball just misses a little bit outside. Thought it was a good pitch. It'll be 1-1, but Nino comes up ready to fire down at first. He wants to throw out Miles Hartman. You can smell it. He's sitting on the edge of his seat.
Yeah, and Nino's always aggressive, especially with those back picks. We'll see how they do here.
Brecken looks over at Hartman at first. He's got a 1-1. Catches the inside part of the plate for strike 2, and Schieffer was not happy with that call. Made a couple comments to the umpire. We've got a game brewing here at field number 5 here at the Genesis Health and Sports Complex right here in Goddard, Kansas. Brecken Sylvain will look over at first, and they're trying to keep Miles Hartman honest.
Yeah, Sylvain's another one of those pitchers throughout the Corn Belt League season that just would fake that throw over to first.
Miles Hartman is off. That ball will be hit in left field. Cam Matson gets a hold of it, can have an opportunity at a double play. The cannon will not get it over there in time. But they do get the one out nonetheless after a failed hit and run experiment by the Mud Daubers.
Yeah, and that'll keep Hartman honest at first base. But like I was saying, Sylvain throughout this Corn Belt League season was another one of those guys, just like Urban, who steps off the mound, fakes that throw to first, holds on to the ball. But here you can't do that because it costs you your one timeout per at bat. So you got to get rid of the ball. And Sylvain, even if it means a lazy throw over to first, he'll have to make that throw over to first.
Hartman leads off at first. That pitch will be a little bit high and inside for ball 1 to Jeffrey Vargas, who is 1 for 4 with 2 strikeout looking and a single that came in the top of the first.
Yeah, we initially thought that single was an error, but they didn't rule it an error, so 1 for 4 on the day, not bad for Vargas.
Vargas, a little bit late, swings and misses at strike number 1.
And with a 1-1 count, you don't want to get too aggressive here if you're Sylvain. You don't want to throw something that allows Hartman the chance to swipe that second base. You got to keep your hitters and your runners honest here if you're Sylvain.
Sylvain comes set. Looks over at Hartman. As that ball gets away, and that'll advance Miles Hartman 90 more feet. You saw Sylvain wave off Nino a couple times, throws a ball in the dirt, and that advances an ever so crucial 90 more feet for the Mud Daubers.
Yeah, just what we said we didn't want to happen there is you give up a free base to one of the fastest guys on this Mud Daubers team in Hartman. And this game's not over yet. Sylvain can't coast just yet. You got to get 2 more away.
Sylvain's got a 1-1 count to Vargas. Vargas will rope that one into left field. That ball will drop for a base hit. That'll be enough to round Hartman home, and Vargas will cruise into second with a game-tying RBI double in the top of the 9th, and we've got ourselves a tied ball game.
Yeah, Sylvain just got absolutely pieced there, and you got to think Mersek's coming in soon here with a runner on second, and Sylvain not dealing his best, and out comes Coach Vern Hasty to try and salvage this game here in the top of the 9th.
And Vern Hasty has seen enough. It looks like that'll be the day, quite possibly, here for Brecken Sylvain. We're going to keep it right here just in case he decides to stay in the ball game. And that will be the day for Brecken Sylvain, as Jeffrey Vargas roped a double off of Brecken here in the top of the 9th. And we will give you the new pitcher here. We'll be right back right here on the Corn Belt League Network. Tie ball game here in the top of the ninth after the Jeffrey Vargas RBI double with one out here. And we've got a brand new pitcher for the Corn Belt League team representing the Rail Riders, Nick Mersek.
Yeah, and Mersek this season was one of the most used pitchers in the entirety of the Corn Belt League. 45 and 2/3 innings pitched, 11 games played, 7 starts, 4 appearances coming in relief. So he's used to a little bit of both. He's a main starter as well as a main reliever for the Rail Riders team, and he comes in relief here in the ninth for the Corn Belt League. And you got to think here because you got to think Coach Vern Hasty's thinking ahead here. You want to put in a starter here because just in case the Corn Belt League doesn't get that run back to walk it off in the bottom of the ninth, you're going to go to 10 and you're going to go to 11. You want a starter who can get you a couple innings here late on in the evening. Like we said, 45 and 2/3 innings pitched has given up 20 earned runs, a 3.9 ERA for Nick Mersek, but strikeout to walk ratio that jumps out of the page, really. 43 strikeouts to only 17 walks, an incredible showing this entire season from Nick Mersek.
He's going to load up the strike zone, and he's tasked with shutting down a Mud Daubers offense who has totaled 9 hits on the day. And he's going to have Gaskin due up here, who is 1 for 3, with the walk that came in his last at bat.
Well, let's not forget about that one hit. An absolute piece job in that first inning to score 2, an RBI double that I believe got stuck in the fence, and so the right fielder had to call it off, and so did the center fielder for the Corn Belt League, Nick Damonte. They both call it off. It was a 2 RBI double for the man up to bat now in Gaskin.
Gaskin takes the first pitch he sees, fouls that one into the net. It'll be an 0-1. Brandon Gaskin cannot get a hold of his name. I went through about every name in the book, but it's actually Brandon. That's my bad. 0-1.
Miles Gaskin, if I'm not mistaken, is a football player in the NFL.
Yes. I that's probably who I was thinking of initially. That's my bad. As Mersek comes set, looks back at Vargas, comes home. That ball will be fouled into the Mud Daubers' own dugout. It'll be an 0-2 count.
And Mersek doing well. First batter you face, a very dangerous hitter. To get ahead in the count 0-2 is really, really important for him.
0-2, Nick Mersek looks to keep the damage where it's at for the Mud Daubers. Comes set in the stretch. Looks back at Vargas. Comes home. That ball will be fouled back into the netting once again. We'll do an 0-2 once again.
Gaskin staying alive, doing well at the plate. He hasn't seen Mersek pitch at all, so the first 2 pitches he fouls off for strikes, and then the third one he fouls off to just stay alive in the at-bat. With 1 away here, you just want to get another out here if you're Mersek, bring him down to their final out at the top of the ninth, and give your offense a chance to walk it off late.
Mersek dealing with a runner on first. Now that one will not be credited to his name. That'll be tied to Brecken Sylvain in the case of that run coming across the score. The 0-2 to Brandon Gaskin. Outside, that ball will get by Anthony Nino, and Vargas will advance 90 more feet. It'll be runners now on third with 1 out.
Yeah, and just an unfortunate wild pitch there from Mersek, and 90 feet away from a leading run here. If you're the Mud Daubers, a game that the Corn Belt League came back in the bottom of the 7th to score 2 and take a lead. Went from a 3-2 ball game to a 3-4 ball game, and now the Mud Daubers are tied up at 4 apiece. Have a chance to take a 5-4 lead here with Hartman at third.
1 ball, 2 strike. Nick Mersek delivers to Brandon Gaskin with Jeffrey Vargas leading off of third. That ball will be hit once again to the field to our immediate right.
And again, another foul ball headed towards field number 1 here at the Genesis Sports Complex, as Gaskin has been doing an incredible job of staying alive in this at-bat. Has had 3 foul balls after hitting that 1-2 count. Just fighting at the plate here, battling with Mersek.
1-2 count. In the dirt, good stop by Nino, keeping the ball in front of him. It'll be a 2-2 count.
2-2 now is a little bit more, you have to be a little bit more conservative here. If you're Mersek, you just can't be aggressive. You got to put one in the zone. If he makes contact, so be it. You just got to trust your defense here if you're Nick Mersek.
2 balls, 2 strikes to Brandon Gaskin. Just misses low. It'll be a full count.
Yeah, he put that one in the dirt, did Mersek. Just really getting ahead of himself on his release point here. Trying to fire it in too hard. You just got to control your pitches here if you're Mersek. Guy on third. 2 outs here. 1 out, excuse me, in the third. Full count that he's worked.
Full count pitch. That ball will be hit once again back and out of play. Gaskin keeps this plate appearance alive, as that was the 8th pitch of the at-bat, the 9th pitch due up right here.
Yeah, Gaskin absolutely battling with Mersak here, and Mersak's just got to put him away here. You cannot keep fighting with Gaskin.
The 9th pitch due up in the at-bat right here for Brandon Gaskin. The pitch. And he hacks at that one into right field. That ball will drop for a base hit. That'll get by Ryan Malone in right field, and that'll be enough for the run to come home to score as Gaskin cruises into double with a go-ahead RBI double with 1 out in the top of the 9th.
Yeah, the Corn Belt League pitching has fallen apart here in the 9th. Brecken Sylvain, the tires come off, and then Mersak in relief gives up that RBI double to Gaskin, who goes over to have a conversation with his first base head coach, and what was looking like 3 outs away, 2 outs away even, for the Corn Belt League to come out and snatch a win, instead has turned into a 5-4 Mud Daubers lead here in the top of the 9th, and they still only have 1 out.
Yeah, there's still only 1 out, and Gaskin just replaced another run for the Mud Daubers. 5-4 advantage Mud Daubers after they've returned the favor here in the top of the 9th with 2 runs of their own. Pitch high and outside. It'll be 1-0.
Falling behind is Mersak. He got ahead of the last hitter, just needs to fire some strikes in and gain some confidence.
That ball will miss outside. Once again, it'll be 2-0.
Still only 1 away and a runner on second here for the Mud Daubers. They've really taken control here in the 9th inning.
2 balls, no strikes here to Yami Baldwin. He'll swing and miss at strike number 1. Good pitch from Nick Mersak.
Mersak did a good job there with that 2-0 pitch to just get one in the strike zone. That's been what he's been missing, is those pitches in the zone, because when he throws them in the zone, they're getting pieced up. He's just got to find that blow-by speed here, especially against Yami Baldwin.
Yami Baldwin gets ready to receive the 2-1, the 2-1. That ball will be outside for ball 3. It'll be a 3-1 count. Good at bat by Yami Baldwin.
Yeah, Jaime Baldwin's done incredible here. Just incredibly patient. You've got a new pitcher on the mound in Mersak, who's struggled a little bit since coming in. The runner on second will be tied to his ERA. So just needs to rear back and fire one in the zone here if you're Mersak.
3-1. That ball will be outside and high. It'll be a 5-pitch walk for Jaime Baldwin, and runners on first and second now for the Mud Daubers.
Not the worst thing in the world here. You bring back that force out at third. So if a ball's hit towards Burnett in the hot corner, you can step on the bag and fire it over to first. But still not the best situation to be in here, as you're trying to keep this 1-run lead and give your offense a chance to bring in some runs here late in the 9th.
As we will see Garrett Wellbrock step up to the plate, and he'll take ball 1 a little bit outside. Didn't miss by much. It'll be a 1-0 count.
Still got Gaskin over at second, and now Baldwin at first for the Mud Daubers as Wellbrock steps up. And, well, he got his second hit of the summer earlier today. After going 1 for 25 to start the summer with the Mud Daubers, he's picked it up here.
That one will be fouled back. It'll be a 1-1 count. A ground ball here for the Corn Belt League would be ideal, as that would get them out of the inning and give them a chance going into the bottom of the 9th. The 1-1. Up curveball will miss high and inside for ball number 2.
Yeah, Mersak has really struggled locating that curveball. The fastball has been pretty fine. That's the pitch that he's fired in the zone the most. Just cannot locate the dip on the curveball to fall back into the zone right now.
2 balls, 1 strike from Nick Mersak to Garrett Wellbrock. The pitch is delivered, and it will miss outside for ball 3.
And again, falling behind is Mersak. Action again in the Corn Belt League bullpen. We'll wait to get a number on that for you. But Mersak really struggling early on here for the Corn Belt League.
Persek trying to keep bases loaded here for the Corn Belt League. The 3-1. Not in there. It'll be a 5-pitch walk and bases loaded for the Mud Daubers, and this is exactly where they want us.
Yeah, bases loaded, one away, and you don't have Aiden Erbaum on the mound to get you out of a bases loaded jam. Instead, it's Nick Mersak, and a meeting here between Nino and Mersak to try and figure out how they want to attack this next batter in Connor Thompson.
Connor Thompson is 1 for 4 in this ball game. As we see a little meeting between everybody, everyone getting a little bit of a talk to here. As Vern goes out. And
head coach Vern Hasty, I don't think he pulled the plug on Mersak. You trust him here, but if he does lose this next batter, and correction, they're going to make the call to the pen. So we'll see the new pitcher when we come back here on the Corn Belt League Network.
Valley Center Mud Daubers have bases loaded here in the top of the 9th as they've plated 2 runs on a couple hits here, but new pitcher for the Corn Belt League Omaha All-Stars as Dylan Novotny toes the rummer with bases loaded.
Yeah, Dylan Novotny in his season with the Omaha Black Sox, although the Omaha Black Sox did finish in 8th, 42 innings pitched, 7 starts, 1 win, 2 losses credited to his name, 17 earned runs given up, 3.643 ERA. Big thing here, 35 strikeouts, only 15 walks. His first pitch strike percentage, 64.7%, second in the Corn Belt League this season.
As we'll see if he has a first pitch strike, as Dylan Novotny is one of the slowest workers. You'll see him step off the plate, or off the mound, excuse me. So he's going to take one of his timeouts already.
Yeah, he only gets 1 per at-bat, so he's already using it here with 3 runners on. Having a conversation with Nino, probably just figuring out what pitch they want to use, and well, he's got to be careful here. He can't step off the mound, attempt to pick off without throwing the ball anymore. And he's got to work quickly here. Like you said, a very, very slow-paced pitcher, and that pitch clock is ticking now for Novotny.
As Novotny comes set, delivers the first pitch, and that ball will be swung on and missed. Blows the gas right by Connor Thompson.
Novotny, one of the streakiest pitchers we've seen. A very good first pitch strike percentage, like we said, and right there gets that first pitch strike. Just needs to be on his groove today with bases loaded and 1 away.
The 0-1 to Connor Thompson. Connor Thompson will swing and miss at strike number 2. It'll be an 0-2 count after Dylan Novotny comes in and throws back-to-back strikes.
Yeah, back-to-back fastballs for Novotny. Right now, he's just throwing all of his cards at Connor Thompson, saying, if you can't hit my fastball, I'm going to keep on throwing it. And look, we'll see if we get a third fastball in a row here. If he tries to change it up, go off speed.
0-2 from Novotny to Connor Thompson. Goes back fastball, misses a little bit down and away. It'll be a 1-2 count here.
I like that decision to go outside of the strike zone there from Novotny. You're not trying to give Connor Thompson something to hit for when he's expecting fastball, but maybe here soon an off speed in the zone.
1 ball, 2 strike to Connor Thompson. Dylan Novotny with the leg kick. Throws the gas right by Connor Thompson. A big strikeout from Dylan Novotny. And that's a huge out number 2. Bases still loaded here in the top of the 9th.
Well, Novotny did the first part of the job. He got 1 out, all strikeouts, all fastballs. I mean, he's just throwing absolute lights out right now on the mound. Got to keep it up, though, for this next hitter here in Cooper Neal, who's had a pretty good day out in left field. He's had a pretty good day at the plate as well for the Mud Daubers. And, well, Novotny trying to hold this 1-run lead with the bases loaded as the Mud Daubers look to tack on some insurance as they head towards the bottom of the 9th here soon.
Purcell leads off of third, Baldwin off of second, and Neal swings and mixes at strike number 1, but Wellbrock leads off of first.
Yeah, they're just not seeing Dylan Novotny's fastball right now. The Mud Daubers just cannot find his speed and match it with their bats right now.
Novotny coming from the windup here with bases loaded and 2 outs. He's already up 0-1, and Neal will take his time out of the at-bat. After Novotny, we mentioned how slow Novotny can work on the mound. It can be very meticulous. He is kind of slow. He works to his own pace.
Yeah, he'll like that timeout taken, though, by Neal. He'll get another second to breathe there before he fires his next pitch in.
Beautiful breaking ball from Dylan Novotny, and Dylan Novotny has came in and provided a spark out there on the mound for the Corn Belt League, and he's up quickly 0-2 to Cooper Neal.
Yeah, he's done his job so far. Just got to put one more pitch in there, strike out Neal, or get him swinging on a grab ball.
Novotny, the 0-2. That ball missed outside. Good hold right there from Neal. 1-2 will be the count.
I know Novotny wanted that third pitch strike. He's trying to get Neal to chase with that inside to outside movement on his fastball, but Neal does well to watch that one go past him. That's a hard pitch to pass up if you're Neal.
The 1-2 from Novotny to Neal. As that one will foul right back into the netting. That would have came right back at us if there was no net.
I was ready for it, but thankfully there's some netting here, and it's not a chain link fence, so no risk that the ball gets stuck in it like we've seen a few times over at Seymour Smith.
Yeah, we have seen that a couple times. That ball will get crammed in the netting as Cooper Neal gets ready for the 1-2. Bases still juiced for the Mud Daubers. Novotny delivers, and that ball will be fouled down the left field line out of play. We'll do 1-2 once again.
It's the off speed that they're catching Novotny on, making contact with. When Novotny goes back to that fastball, which I'd expect him to do here, 1-2 count, you throw 2 straight off speed pitches. Now catch him sleeping on the off speed and throw a little bit of gas by him. That's what I'd expect here from Novotny. We'll see what he does here on the 1-2.
1 ball, 2 strikes. We'll do it again. The pitch. In the dirt, Dylan Novotny not able to get him swinging at it. It will do a 2-2.
Well, it was a fastball for Novotny, but just try to put a little too much on him to really drive home that strikeout. Instead, it's in the dirt. Just losing control is Novotny there for the 2-2.
2 balls, 2 strikes. Big pitch coming from Dylan Novotny with bases juiced here in the top of the 9th. As the kick, the pitch. That ball will be hit well in the left field. That ball will drop for a base hit. Cam Matson gets it at the wall, and he'll get it over to his cutoff man. Actually, we'll go by the cutoff man, Caven Steenbach, and he'll go into second. That'll be an 1 RBI or a single RBI single, I believe. As 2 will be brought around after the RBI double by Cooper Neal, and that breaks the game open for the Mud Daubers.
Yeah, really just not what you wanted there from Novotny. Just kind of lost it there with his fastball, and runners on second and third now with a 3-run lead now for the Mud Daubers.
Novotny throws home, and Hedrick squares a bunt around. That's interesting with 2 outs, but they are up 3.
Trying to force an error, I believe, here if you're the Mud Daubers. You've done your insurance. You trust in your closer now at this point to hold the Corn Belt League off. The Corn Belt League just hasn't found a closer yet. And
as Hedrick fouls that one way out of play behind us, it'll be an 0-2.
We'll see what Novotny does here. He worked an 0-2 last time as well before giving up that big double to left field.
Novotny gets ready to deliver the 0-2. In there for strike 3, a backwards K. But the Mud Daubers do their damage on 4 runs and 4 hits for the Mud Daubers in the top of the 9th. Corn Belt League need 3 to tie, 4 to win. Let's see if they can do it right here on the Corn Belt League Network. Down to the bottom of the 9th here, and the Corn Belt League has 3 chances to get 3 to tie, 4 to win, but new pitcher, the closer for the Valley Center Mud Daubers, number 16, Jake Gall.
We don't have any stats on Gall from his KCLB season, but just looking at him, he looks like he throws fast, and he's a very, very imposing figure on that mound for the Valley Center Mud Daubers. And for the Corn Belt League, well, Burnett, Nino, and Yeager do up, and I think, Nino, Yeager, and Malone do up. So 3 hitters who get good contact and have chances to get on bases is kind of who you want at the heart of the order, that 3-4-5 for this Corn Belt League side.
It will be Burnett because of the pickoff. He will resume his at-bat. No pitches were thrown, but it doesn't matter. It would have reset anyway, so it'll be Burnett leading things off, and then it'll be Nino, Yeager, and then Malone if we get to that point. So that's the next 4 for the Corn Belt League. It'll be 2, 3, 4.
And Burnett, like you mentioned, that pickoff. So it is Burnett returning, and with a new pitcher on the mound, you don't really know. It's all up in the air. Burnett could either do really well against a new pitcher, do really poorly against a new pitcher. We'll see how that turns out here as the Corn Belt League is in desperation mode after giving up 4 in the top of the 9th as we sit in the bottom of the 9th, down 3.
Very doable. We've seen it numerous times in the Corn Belt League this last year. Anything is possible. Bottom of the 9th. The Valley Center Mud Daubers have pieced up 11 hits on Corn Belt League pitchers today, while the Corn Belt League has pieced up 9 on Mud Dauber pitchers. The first pitch will be swung on a miss from Carson Burnett. It'll be an 0-1 count.
He wanted that one. He swung low at a pitch that was well below his knees and just kind of missed that one.
Carson Burnett gets ready for the 0-1. He will swing and miss at the 0-2, has been behind on back-to-back pitches. And he really wanted that one back. That must have been right in his wheelhouse, and we'll do an 0-2 to Carson Burnett. This would be a huge out here for Jake Goll, who is getting Corn Belt's hottest hitter. Now, that was a very close pitch inside, but it'll be a 1-2 count.
Yeah, just missed that one on the inside half of the plate, which is where the umpires favor the strike zone today, shifting a little bit towards the inside of the batters, but missing that one just by a fraction or 2.
1 ball, 2 strikes to Burnett. Burnett will swing and miss, and that'll be a strikeout for Jake Goll. 2 more outs remaining for the Corn Belt League All-Stars.
Yeah, not what you want to see out of Burnett, your leadoff guy. I mean, he's been hot all day. He's done his job at the plate, really. You cannot fault him for one mistake here in the 9th, but it just comes at a time where it's so crucial for the Corn Belt League to get a hit, get a leadoff man on. Instead, you're 1 down, and you're down to your last 2 outs.
As Anthony Nino steps up to the plate, we'll take that first pitch he sees and skies that one into left field. That'll be a base hit. Nino keeps things rolling with the base runner here with 1 out in the bottom of the 9th.
And Nino's done it all season. Like we mentioned, a .190 hitter coming into the postseason, but still led the league, led his team, the Filth Ballers, in RBIs with 12. He can hit the ball hard. He just got really unlucky during that Corn Belt League season. That's why he's a part of the squad, leading his team in RBIs, even though he batted .190.
Jackson Yeager steps up to the plate. He's 2 for 2 with a couple bombs up at the plate today. as he's got a 1-0 count. Patience is going to be key for the All-Stars. That ball will be hit. That ball will be a gapper. We will have another base hit. It'll be back-to-back singles for the Corn Belt League. We got runners on first and second after Yeager continues to stay hot up at the plate. He's 3 for 3 since coming into this ball game.
Yeah, you talk about a man who's seeing the ball extremely well. Jackson Yeager gets contact on that pitch and just drives it into that left field, that soft left field area where there's no one there to even get close to the ball. He trots over first base. He could have walked there and made it in time. Just a great piece of hitting there from Yeager. It'll bring up Malone.
0-1 count, or excuse me, 0-0 count to Malone. Malone swings and misses at strike number 1. It'll be an 0-1 count.
Yeah, Malone really trying to get after that one, just absolutely in front of it. The off-speed pitch there from Gall.
0-1 to Ryan Malone. Ryan Malone shows bunt, gets it down, as he will be thrown out at first. That's an interesting call right there on a 1-out, down by 3 situation with runners on second and third.
Well, it'll bring up Cam Matson, who's a little bit more of a surefire hitter than Malone. Malone, a two-way, also pitches, but you're down to your last out, and while you advance the runners, you got Nino at third, and over at second, you got Yeager.
First pitch to Matson is outside. It'll be a 1-0 count. Runners on second and third. Nino off of third, Yeager off of second. Madsen up at the plate.
Madsen, the tying run. If he can get this one in play, he represents that tying run for the Corn Belt League.
Pitch high for ball 2.
You also got to be very aware on the base pads here. You do not want to be the guy who's caught sleeping on the base pads and gets backpicked or gets thrown out because you're asleep on the base pads.
Caven Steenbach in the on-deck circle for the Corn Belt League. Next pitch will be in there for strike 1. Catches the inside part of the knee, or around the knees. It'll be a strike 1.
And Madsen, the goal right now is put the ball in play, get on base. No matter who scores, even if you just put yourself at first, give Steenbach a chance to bring some guys in.
As he is up in the count 3-1 here. A walk would be big, and it would bring around Caven Steenbach.
And how nice would it be for Steenbach to do it in his hometown where he plays college ball just over the road at Wichita at Newman University.
As Madsen will put that one into the netting on the opposite field. It'll be a full count, and the Corn Belt League could be down to their final strike here in their opening pool play game.
Runners are going to go here. Payoff pitch, 3-2, 2 outs, but the Corn Belt League down to the last strike, and the best hitter this season up at the plate. I don't think there's anyone else you'd rather want in this situation. High pressure. Cam Madsen's delivered all season. Just needs it to do it here in the most important at-bat of this Wichita trip so far.
3 balls, 2 strikes, 2 outs. Runners on second and third for the Corn Belt team. Watches ball 4 up at his face. That'll be a 6-pitch walk for Cam Madsen, and up steps the hometown hero, originally actually from Lincoln, but goes to school here at Newman University. He's a Newman Jet. He has the opportunity to keep the Corn Belt League game alive.
Yeah, Steenbach from Lincoln East, like you said, a Nebraska high school, but Nebraska high school that just won the state championship here in 2023. Obviously, he was well off in college at that point.
And he will swing and miss at strike number 1. Caben's been a little trigger happy up at the plate these past couple at-bats.
You just got to think it's a little bit of the moment, being in a familiar surrounding here with Newman just nearby. You want to show out for the home crowd that's showing up for you. And a big moment here for Steenbach. 2 strikes left in the Corn Belt League game if he cannot get on base here.
As we had a tie your shoe situation. As Gall up in the count here, 0-1. Comes set, bases are juiced. Caven Steenbach watches strike 2 inside. That looked a little inside, but it'll be an 0-2 count here for Caven Steenbach.
Yeah, like we said all day, the umpire's been favoring that inside half of the strike zone a little bit compared to the outside, and now Corn Belt League down to the last strike and an 0-2 count. Steenbach's got to do something here.
Steenbach watches a very close pitch. It'll be 1-2.
That's a tough one to watch, especially with the call that just happened on the pitch previous. The Steambock, good discipline. 1-2 count.
1-2. Caben Steenbach can put one in play. Fouls back. Good job staying alive.
Yeah, huge there from Steenbach. Got a late jump on that pitch and just barely poked it over the foul line to stay alive. And it's another chance at the last strike here for the pitcher, Gall.
1 ball, 2 strike. Caben Steenbach can keep the Corn Belt League game alive. Eagles swing and miss at strike number 3, and that will do it for the first pool play game as the Corn Belt League allows 4 runs in the top of the 9th to lose the game to the Valley Center Mud Daubers, and they will go 0-1 in pool play games as they were led by Jeffrey Vargas, who started it, and they were able to just continue to tack it on here in this one.
Yeah, just unfortunate for the Corn Belt League. You come in, you lead in the 9th with a 4-3 scoreline. You give up 4 in the top of the 9th inning, and that'll be it for the first game. You got another chance tomorrow to regain a victory and regain some of that score differential against the team in the DFW Ravages. We'll see how they play, and we'll see how the Corn Belt League plays tomorrow at 8. Myself, Ethan McCormick, will be on the call for that one as well. Pregame will start around 7:50 for that game. Ethan, just a rough 9th inning. Couldn't find the pitching. Novotny comes in, does well enough, but then gives up that one big hit. Sylvain lost the wheels early on. Nick Mersak didn't record an out when he came in. Just a lot of things that catapulted into one big top of the 9th inning for the Mud Daubers.
100%. Corn Belt League dropped this game 7-4. We, like Arnav said, we will be back tomorrow night with game 2 of the pool play series, and then it'll be on to single elimination on Friday. They will go up against the Dallas-Fort Worth Ravages. Like Arnav said, we'll be live at about 7:50 for that game right here from Goddard, Kansas, and the Genesis Health Sports Complex. Well, Corn Belt League loses it right here in the top of the 4th inning, 7-4. We will see you tomorrow. Everyone have a